As you know, throughout the whole bowl season, the Big Ten model of instant replay will be used. As I said, they're making the definitive call on the field now, and then we'll see if it gets replayed or not. They're going to say it's down on the field, and we'll see if they take a peek at it via replay.
Player was ruled down before the fumble is second down.
Mike, I think the ball came out, but it looked like Ross recovered the ball while he was down on the ground. Here.
Ball's out.
Yeah, the ball came out, but I think he recovered. And then after he was down, then the Michigan defender, I think, pulled it away from him, making it appear as if he had recovered for a fumble.
That's why you need real specificity on the call on the field. Did you say he was down, or did you say they recovered? Nate Swift makes the catch, gets the first down, out to the 44-yard line. Gain of 9. So back to that play. Clearly it's a fumble. But what the officials have to talk about more...
Ball's out, obviously.
They have to talk about more often
right there.
What did you say? Did you say he was down by contact and the whistle blew, or did you say Nebraska recovered the fumble? And that was not, at least what I heard, clearly announced by Jim Jackson, the Sun Belt official working the game tonight.
Surprised it wasn't worth at least a review.
1st and 10. Nebraska's moving the ball very well so far here tonight. Cornhuskers 10 plays, 55 yards.
Mike, he's got the soft corners again. I don't know if he wants to try to go after those corners.
Here is Taylor. He'll swing it out to Ross. Caught a lot of passes this year. And Corey Ross, the I-back out of Denver, catches one for the 41st time. And he'll gain about 4 yards. Let's just frame the game for you here. Both teams are 7-4, Kirk. Nebraska in the second year of the Bill Callahan era. They are thrilled to be back in the postseason after missing last year. For Nebraska, why is this game important tonight?
Well, for Nebraska, it's about building for the future in Bill Callahan's era. And this is an opportunity against a great traditional power in Michigan to take the next step forward and to help with recruiting and help with the process of building this program under Bill Callahan.
2nd and 6. Michigan should get called for an offside. But a big hit up the middle. Terrence Nunn. Touchdown, Nebraska! 52 yards, and the Huskers strike first.
We've been talking here the first 2 possessions by Nebraska. What a great job that Zach Taylor has been doing here with the variety of formations. This time he catches Michigan in a blitz. Michigan gambled with Jim Herman trying to apply the pressure. Number 45 came right up the middle, Dave Harris. He got there a split second too late, and it gave Taylor just enough time to find his man Nunn for the touchdown.
Jordan Condon, second team all Big 12 kicker, bangs through the extra point for the 29th time this year. This is not your father or even your older brother's Nebraska. They are new, they are high-powered, and they are walking the ball down the field on the maize and blue. Nebraska strikes first, 7-0 in San Antonio.
Well, Zach Taylor off to a great start tonight for Nebraska. He is right now in tremendous rhythm, and he did a nice job, Micah, looking into the defense and seeing that the linebackers wanted to bring pressure. Now, Dave Harris is not going to be picked up. There isn't a running back to pick him up. When the blitz comes right there, it's crucial that he gets rid of the football. And look at Nunn right here, and Harrison trying to come in to make the play. Harrison is a step late, and when you don't have a safety in the middle of the field to make the play, you don't have any support. It's up to you to, at the very least, Mike, make the tackle. When he missed that tackle, Nunn was to the races.
Jake West kick is off to Steve Breaston. Fabulous kick returner. Breaston pops the outside. He's got a ton of room. Steve Breaston gets past the kicker. They have an angle on him. Breaston takes it down the sideline, out of bounds at the 29. Stevie Wonder, the fabulous kick returner, and Nebraska should have been flagged 15 more there. A 70-yard response to the Nebraska touchdown.
Well, Steve Breaston has been battling injuries most of this year. When he is healthy, you have to put him up there as the top kickoff return man in college football. Of course, the big return earlier this year against Penn State, and now this time, when his team needs something to spark him early in this game, he gets them going again to give them great field possession down to the Nebraska 30-yard line. Big return there by Breaston.
Longest bowl kickoff return in Michigan history. Breaston has 4 of the top 6 all time. Remember his great Rose Bowl returning last year. Mike Hart carries, stop. Nebraska up front is manhandling the Wolverines. Reese Davis shows us the exciting finish earlier. Reese.
And Mike, it was a great finish between Boise State and Boston College. Boston College once had a 27-0 lead. 27-21, 4th and 9. Jared Zabransky finds Vinny Peretta to stay alive. Now on 3rd and goal, under a minute to go, and Ryan Glasper takes the easy interception, and BC hangs on. 6 straight bowl wins for Tom O'Brien, Mike.
O'Brien really prepares his teams well, Reese, no question. 2nd and 12. The linebackers from Nebraska are getting in there very quickly and very effectively to start the game here tonight. Henny on play action, looks for time, pitching and throwing. Incomplete. Nobody was open. And Kirk, the front 7 pressure from the Huskers, doing a very good job of setting a tone early on.
Let's look at this Michigan offense for a second, Mike. We talked about the importance of them being healthy. The reason the health is so important is because it's going to take some of the pressure, you would think, off of Chad Henne, because they're going to be able to run the football with that big offensive line and Michael Hart being in there. It's very early in this game. We're halfway, almost halfway through this first quarter, and if you look at what's happening right now, you have an offense that's getting beat up at the line of scrimmage. The Nebraska front 7 is dominating the Michigan offensive line.
13, that linebacker, Corey McEwen, has done a great job on these first 5 snaps. 1 yard for the Wolverines. 3rd and a dozen. Henne, nothing open. He takes off, running for the first down. That's something that Chad Henne doesn't really have in his game if you look at the scouting report, but he's getting better at as the first 2 years go on. A first down carry.
This, Mike, it's a great run by Henne, but it's also something that Michael Hart has been, by him not being in the lineup, they've missed. And it's just, it gives you a security blanket as a quarterback, knowing that Michael Hart's going to be at the right place at the right time. That time with the pass protection, giving Henne enough time to finally make the decision to pick up the first down.
And you see that was the largest gain for Michigan so far in their first 6 snaps. In the red zone, here is Hart dancing across the 15 into the 13-yard line. Mike Hart had a great season as a freshman. Came out of a small high school, Onondaga Central in Syracuse, New York. Came in and had 1,455 yards. Was the top freshman in the Big Ten in 2004. He has only finished 4 games in 2005. He has been injured throughout the season. When he's finished, he's had at least 100 yards. And Aaron Andrews will tell us about Hart's injury story momentarily. 2nd and 5 from the 13. And on play action, Henne is hit as he throws, but finds Tyler Ecker, who takes it to the house. Touchdown, Michigan.
Absolute great call by Terry Malone, the offensive coordinator for Michigan. His tight end does a nice job of disguising, showing that he's blocking. And when you have an overly aggressive defense, playing on a lot of emotion and winning the battle in the line of scrimmage, one of the ways to slow him down is with a screen or with a draw. This time, a little misdirection off of play action. Great call, great time to call it, and a touchdown for the Wolves.
The extra point added by Garrett Rivas. It started with the Steve Breston 70-yard kickoff return. Amazing blue-colored band bangs out hail to the victors. I think we're going to have a really good one here in San Antonio. The Wolverines respond, and we're all tied at 7. America's 8th largest city because of the geography, 360 square miles. Very large city in San Antonio, 1.1 million people, and I think they're all nice. I've spent a bunch of time down here with the Spurs being so dominant in our NBA coverage. This is the 4th time we've been involved in this game. What a great city for a bowl game. All tied at 7. The Ross Ryan kickoff. Marlon Lucky is going to take a knee, and we're going to take it for a SportsCenter 30 and 30 update. And back to Reese Davis.
All right, Mike, Wayne Gretzky will be back behind the bench when the Coyotes take on the Sharks. Gretzky been away from his team for 10 days after his mom passed away of cancer on December 19th. Byron Leftwich listed as questionable for the Jaguars against the Titans on Sunday, coming back from a broken ankle. Have to decide whether it's worth it to risk him to get him a little work before the postseason. SportsCenter after the game, ESPN News All.
Reese, thank you. Reese Coach Lou Holtz, College Football Hall of Famer Mark May in the studio. Those guys working day and night throughout Capital One Bowl week. We'll hear from them at halftime. Nebraska drive starts at the 20, and here's Corey Ross. He gets 3 to the 23. Stopped by Alan Branch. And for more on Ross, we welcome in Erin Andrews.
Thanks, Mike. Well, Corey Ross, co-captain and senior of this Nebraska team, he told me with all the adversity this Nebraska team has gone throughout his time with the Cornhuskers, he said learning from these different coaches, various running back coaches, has really helped him. He's encountered different ways of learning how to play certain defenses. He's even learned how to adjust to different personalities, which he thinks really will help him, hopefully, in the pros, guys.
That short size is a concern for some, Aaron. He goes forward there for about 2 or 3 yards. We'll have 3rd and 3 coming up. And what Aaron is talking about is the obvious change. Frank Solich, just a lifer as a Husker under Tom Osborne, took over as the head coach, then was relieved of the duties, and then Bill Callahan from the Oakland Raiders took the Raiders to the Super Bowl, was let go after a couple of years by Al Davis, a year out of football. Callahan takes over last year. They miss a bowl game for the first time in some 36 years, and then get back to a bowl game here this year at the Alamo Bowl. Their record 7-4 on the season. 3rd and 3. Wolverines pressure. Taylor up top for Swift. Couldn't adjust to it. The coverage by Grant Mason. The pressure up in front came from Pierre Woods and Alan Branch. And Nebraska goes 3 and out. Swift and the Huskers won their first 4, then dropped 4 of their next 5, hit a low point with that Kansas loss, down 40-15 in that one, but came back to win their last 2 for the first time since '99. And as you see, they are bowling about as much as anyone else who's ever played. Now, Sam Cook, the first punt snap by Lane Kelly was bad. It forced Michigan to tackle Cook after no gain. Let's watch the snap here. This one's up by his eyes. It's okay. And Cook, a good kicker, unloads. But a great returner in Preston from the 14. Room to run again. Look at Preston! Sprinting to the 39. That ball hit the ground first. It should be ruled down there. There's a wild scramble for the ball as you're watching this. It's going to be back down at the 39-yard line. They didn't blow the whistle quick enough. I never heard a whistle, and I don't think anybody came running into points. It was clearly down. These are Sun Belt officials. They have fine teams in the Sun Belt, but the talent on this field is new for these guys in stripes.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that.
Kick of 59, return of 25. 4:21 left, first quarter. All tied at 7. Steve Breaston, the best return man in Michigan history? Yeah, I know Desmond Howard was there and Charles Woodson. Breaston's pretty special. Great to be back with you at the 2005 MasterCard Alamo Bowl. $1.5 million the payout to these institutions and their conferences, along with the Holiday Bowl, coming up, Pacific Life Holiday Bowl, coming up tomorrow. You will have the 2 best pre-New Year's weekend games here on ESPN, with the Peach Bowl in there as well, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl from Atlanta right in that group as well. Terrific matchup, that one, with LSU and Miami. Henny's throw, complete to Breaston. Stopped on a dime. I think Steve Breaston likes bowl games.
I think he likes being healthy.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
that too.
We haven't seen Steve Breaston healthy since probably the Rose Bowl last year when he had a great game against Texas. Boy, it's just nice addition. We talked about how important it is. So tough to judge this Michigan team off of this year because they've had to deal with Mike Hart being down, Steve Breaston being down for not being the kind of player that they had hoped he could be most of this year. The offensive line has had a battle through injuries. When they're healthy, they're a fun offense to watch.
2nd and 2. Hart is out. Kevin Grady is the back. He gets a first down right out to midfield, and Aaron has more on the bowl star for Michigan.
Yeah, he really lives for these bowl games. How about this? We got to give our producer a little love. Kim Belton sitting next to Breaston's brother on the flight. Apparently, he got the whole family history. Steve Breaston has 4 brothers. He ragged on one of his brothers ragged on him and said, hey, if Steve was a girl, my mom was going to name Stephanie. She had been waiting, guys, to name one of her kids Stephanie. So he ended up being Steve.
Yeah, he's on the field there as Henny takes the snap and loses a yard. You know, those middle seats that you sometimes get when you travel can work out very effectively.
Especially when you're sitting next to Kim's 6'7". You imagine, I don't know what size Preston's brother is. That's a tight fit, boys. That's a long flight for Kim.
2nd and 11 coming up as we get to 3 minutes here. This is a predominantly Nebraska crowd.
Michigan getting in on the huddle, trying to change the tempo right now.
Oh, and Vinny lost the ball, and he got it back. That's the second straight snap.
Second time in a row, and I don't know if it's because Michigan has sprinted out of the huddle. The last two huddles, they have sprinted and gone with a quick count, just trying to maybe change the tempo. And I think it's affected Henny a little bit because I think he's maybe trying to hurry so much that he's not getting his hands on the football and securing the ball, being able to be effective in running the play. Now Michigan's 3rd and long.
Among the 19 surgeries and many injuries, so much change up front. Mark Beal, who started 3 games, the senior, has been in there throughout. Adam Krause has only been in briefly thus far tonight. 3rd and 15. Henny has some time. Not anymore. Engulfed for the sack by Cryer. Barry Cryer out of Marrero, Louisiana, comes up with his first full sack. He had a half sack in the last game against Colorado.
Might give the secondary a lot of credit here for covering downfield, and on 3rd and long, it allows him to get pressure with just 4. They put 7 in coverage. He couldn't find anybody open, and the pocket just collapsed on him. Barry Cryer gets in there with great strength.
Ross Ryan set to punt, not very deep, but pretty high. From the 19, no return room for Grigsby, and Courtney's brought down. Michigan will see Nebraska have a long field to travel. Cornhusker fans glad to be back at the Bowls. All tied at 7. Back here in the Alamo City, talking about all the great games as Capital One Bowl Week continues here on ESPN. All tied at 7 here. Tomorrow in high definition, we start with the Emerald Bowl, Georgia Tech at John Tenuta-led defense taking on Utah, and then the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. Keith Jackson, Dan Fouts will bring it to you. Oregon against Oklahoma. Oregon's the highest BCS-rated team, not in one of the BCS games. That could be a pretty interesting matchup because Oklahoma improved as the season went on.
They sure did. I think Rhett Bomar, their quarterback, finally became a little bit more confident, and you combine he and Adrian Peterson, what they can do on offense. I think the Sooners are looking another one of those games you're looking to build for the future with such a young team against an athletic Oregon team. That'll be a good one.
It's this time tomorrow night. First down, Taylor adjusts the play and throws incomplete, intended for Nate Swift. Kirk, you talk about Oklahoma so quickly. Oklahoma was the dominant program, and here they struggle early on in the year as they search for the quarterback. And we forgot Adrian Peterson and how good he was last year. He was pretty good at the end of this season.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that one of the things that they try to do is just get healthy and get experience. And when you're able to get that, it's amazing in college football to see the change of a team once you're able to become a little bit more experienced. And that was a team that we saw get better as the year went on.
Here is Ross running up the middle, looking for room to run. Michigan's controlling the line of scrimmage a little bit more here defensively. And they've been able to stop Ross on this last play. You're the one who pointed it out. Peterson, 102 rushing yards per game, really did it at the back end as Oklahoma got confident, won 5 of their last 6.
And I think it's because, again, some of the youth grew up. And Oregon's a team, you talk about them late in the year, they kind of got left out of the BCS. They have a point to prove. It's a very athletic team, incredibly skilled on offense. So I'll be looking forward to locking in and watching that one tomorrow night.
3rd and 8 from the 23. Quick toss, Taylor. It's high. It's intercepted by the Wolverines. Leon Hall is going to take it the distance for a touchdown. I thought his knee was down when he caught the ball. The play wasn't stopped for the moment they say touchdown. We have one official back here standing at the 38. And I think they're going to bring this back. I don't think it's going to be a Michigan touchdown. Again, the lack of a clear call made on the field. There you go.
He's all over it now.
We got to pick up the speed of this game here with the stripes. Ball back at the 38.
Mike,
no touchdown.
you and I kind of hit each other because the ball's underthrown, and it right there. Clearly, Hall's knee is down. The right knee is down.
After the interception, the runner was ruled down right here. First down,
It
Michigan.
won't even matter if they replay it, Mike. We've already had a chance to see it. You and I saw it from up here.
They got it right. I said, boy, did I miss it? Did he get on a knee and then get up? But in any case, Taylor with the interception. Kirk, we were talking during the break. Michigan had gone 5 DBs, and they were able to get the turnover there.
Mike, I almost feel like early in this game, while the Boise State-Boston College game was going on, there's a tremendous amount of momentum built early for Nebraska, and from Chad Henne's scramble on, it's been a little bit of a different story emotionally.
A reverse with Breaston. Has Henne out there to block, but he could never get there. Great job by Blake Tiki, the free safety, a former walk-on earned a scholarship this spring out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. The senior stays home. Loss of 2. The quarter will come to an end.
Loss of 2 on the carry. Second down and 1 to go.
Mike, when you're a safety and you have a reverse and you're ahead of it that far, he saw that coming from the very beginning of the play, and it gave him an opportunity to sniff it out and be in position to slow down Breaston. He's one of those guys you don't want to give him much momentum because he can make you miss in the open field. Nice play there that time by Blake Tiki.
Tiki's family is here. We got a chance to meet them. They enjoyed a burger out on the Riverwalk last night. End of the first quarter here in San Antonio. 2005 MasterCard Alamo Bowl. Yes, the hustle and bustle of the holidays might be done, but they've been having fun in the Alamo City. All tied at 7 after 1 quarter. Quarter number 2, 2005 MasterCard Alamo Bowl with Aaron Andrews and Kirk Herbstreit. Mike Tirico. Michigan 7, Nebraska 7. Terrence Nunn caught a 52-yard touchdown pass from Zach Taylor about halfway through the first quarter. And on the ensuing drive, 2 big plays by Chad Henne after a 69-yard kickoff return by Steve Breaston set up a Tyler Ecker touchdown catch to tie the game at 7. You see the Nebraska defense getting the job done. Loss of yards for Michigan the last 4 plays. Nebraska did that as much as anyone nationally in 2005. Second and 12. Henne's throw to Mario Manningham, who had the at-the-gun catch against Penn State. First down catch of 13 there.
Mike, you touched on a couple of the key plays in this football game, and I think the turning point so far early in the game, Michigan here down 7, 3rd and 10. Chad Henne picks up the first down, and the very next play buys enough time, sells it, and hits Eckler on a delay for a touchdown to tie the game. Those 2 plays changed not only the score, but the momentum of the game and swung it in favor of the Maize and Blue.
Mike Hart with the carry. He gets about 2 yards. And Kirk, I didn't see it live on the play that Henne scrambled, but I just saw it in that replay. Mike Hart with that great blitz pickup that you brought up.
That's what they have missed, Mike, is Mike Hart went low and actually put Barry Turner up in the air, and it gave Henne enough time to buy enough time and then to pick up the first down.
We always talk about the yards he gains and doesn't gain.
Yeah.
That stuff's just as important.
Yeah, catching the ball, making big blocks. He's just an extra set of eyes and ears in there for Chad Henne.
Second and 8. Breaston comes across the formation. Henne 3 receivers to his left, off the hands of Pat Massey, rather Pat's younger brother Mike, the tight end, and it falls incomplete. Aaron has more on the return of Mike Hart.
Well, quickly, guys, just to add about what you were talking about in Mike Hart and what he does out there, we were told by the coaching staff he is one of the best blockers for Chad Henne. Now, you're looking at his ankle right now. That is a brace he's using. Herbie, you said it. It's almost like an air cast. It is the very first time he will be wearing a brace of this sort in a game. Of course, that right high ankle sprain is something he's been dealing with since October, Mike.
Also, Aaron, it almost looks like he's got some of the Michigan basketball shoes on. It's a flat shoe, almost looks like a low-top basketball shoe, and only player out on the field for Michigan wearing those shoes.
Here is Henne, 3rd down, throwing for Jason Avant in the end zone. He was interfered with, and the flag comes down. Zach Bowman, the corner, hit Avant as he was trying to come back for the ball, and that's actually a smart play, because if he didn't do it, it would have been 6.
Well, Bowman got beat, and his only way to come back tough to see from that angle, but his only way to get back into the play was to crank up enough momentum to actually get into the way of Jason Avant. And I'll tell you, Mike, that is a call that could go either way. But when you turn your back and you're in a full sprint to catch up to the receiver, the action of your body sells it like it's pass interference. But could have gone either way there, kind of a gray area, but his body language sold it as pass interference. There's not face guarding in college football. There is in the NFL, but
once he extends those arms and pushes him out as he comes back to the ball. And I think it's a smart penalty, because if you don't do it, it's a touchdown. It's a 15-yard flag, and Michigan is 1st and 10 and 13.
Mark it down as another 3rd and long in Nebraska territory that the Wolverines were able to capitalize on.
Henny to Kevin Grady across the 10, and he pile drives in there toward the 8-yard line. Kevin Grady is the all-time leading high school rusher in the state of Michigan. He didn't play against the best competition, but pretty good competition as he played for Grand Rapids East High School. He had 8,431 yards. It's so ridiculous, it's hard to even imagine. He had 151 touchdowns in his career and scored over 900 points. True freshman, played a lot this year because of the injuries to Hart. Here he is again. He's that big back, more in the Chris Perry type mode. Hart gave them a smaller, quicker back over the last year or so. 2 minutes in, second quarter, all tied, 7 apiece between Michigan and Nebraska. Michigan unable to get a ground game cranking yet. Really, Michigan's biggest yards have come in the return game with Steve Preston. Nebraska made the early impact, and this drive is off of a Nebraska turnover, an interception thrown by Zach Taylor. They can get a first down at the 3. The senior receiver Avant, 74 catches this year. He was the motion man. Henny throws, almost intercepted, threw it high. Intended for Ecker. That's Tiedtke. 2 nice plays early on in this game. We'll have a Michigan field goal attempt likely coming up from Garrett Rivas.
I guess it's going to be a fun battle tonight to watch in the trenches between Nebraska's big, strong front 4 and Michigan's offensive line, because as much as we're giving Michigan credit for being healthy and how strong their line is, Bill Callahan's troops are strong, they're physical, and they think they have a point to prove that they can handle that size and strength of Michigan's front offensive line.
25-yard field goal attempt for the junior from Tampa, Florida, 19 of 25 on the season. Backup quarterback Mac Gutierrez holds. The kick is off the upright and no good. So Rivas, who missed a short one at Michigan State, a game he eventually won with a field goal in overtime, unable to convert. Nebraska got a good push up the middle, too.
Nebraska got a good push, the jump, but there's no excuse, Mike. I mean, it's a kick that I'm sure Rivas can make every single time. The hold is there. It's just a matter of coming through and putting that ball right through the uprights.
In high definition, that opening looks really wide. They couldn't knock it through. 1st and 10, Nebraska takes over at its own 20, so the turnover cost Zach Taylor nothing. He throws, that is intercepted again by Leon Hall again. So these extra defensive backs, Michigan's giving Taylor a tough look. He threw 10 interceptions all year, 2 on his last 2 passes. Hall has 9 career INTs.
Mike, this offense, this West Coast offense of Bill Callahan's demands that the quarterback and the receiver be in sync and be on the same page. And timing, how often do you hear that? The timing between the quarterback and the receiver, a great jam there. That was the important thing, and the thing that allowed Hall to make the pick, his second of the game, is he jammed on right at the end of the route and allowed him to jump and make the play. And just by bumping him, it got him off track just enough. And by the time the quarterback, Zach Taylor, realized that, the ball was already in the air.
Third drive, Michigan gets it to start in Nebraska territory. Only 7 to show for it. Here is Hart, bouncing to the outside. Mike Hart, first down run at the 18-yard line. What he told us he needed to find out was, can he cut on that ankle? That ankle that he hurt, as Aaron talked about, against Iowa. He has not just busted it full go in these bowl practices, trying to make sure he could get his best rested from that high ankle sprain. Going straight's okay. It's cutting. That time he looked the least tentative that he has all night. Play clock has not been started. They were moving the chain still, and now we're going 1st and 10 at the 18. Toss, Hart. It's 3, shy of the 15. We'll have 2nd and about 7 coming up. Well, it's Capital One Bowl week rolls on. Here is the action for Friday. We will start it with the Independence Bowl. South Carolina and Steve Spurrier taking on Missouri out of the Big 12. And a terrific matchup in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl in Atlanta. The Canes against LSU. It's 7 Eastern, Capital One Bowl week, Friday doubleheader on ESPN, available in high definition. 2nd and 8, Hart the lone back. 3 receivers for Henny, who throws to the end zone. Touchdown, Michigan, Mike Massey for the 2nd time this year.
Isn't it amazing, Mike, when you have a Michigan team that can run the football enough and become balanced, how Chad Henne changes? We had so many people put so much pressure on him this year and said, well, he's just not the guy from last year. Well, a lot of that had to do with not having the running game to take some of the pressure off of him. And I think, as you see, when they're able to run the ball, they're able to give him protection, and what a mismatch. You go to the tight end, Massey at 6'4", and Tiki at 5'10". Michigan will take that matchup every time.
Tim Massaquoi, their starting senior tight end, out tonight. But the other 2 tight ends, Tyler Eckert and Mike Massey, have caught touchdowns here tonight. Well, Jim Jr. at Ohio State, brother Pat, a senior defensive end, captain on the Wolverines. Mike Massey, college football weekends have been special in the Massey family throughout. Michigan takes advantage of the good field position and the turnovers to go up 14-7.
Great field position, Michigan able to capitalize, Mike, but I tell you, good-looking tight ends on this Michigan roster. Massaquoi, maybe one of the prettiest tight ends in all of college football. He's out. And Ecker and Massey have stepped up nicely tonight. Ross
Ryan does the inexcusable, kicks it out of bounds, so Nebraska will take over at its own 35-yard line. Zach Taylor's last 2 passes have been intercepted, and as you said, Kirk, in this West Coast offense, you pass almost in place of the run for ball control, and your short passes cannot turn into mistakes as they have for Zach, especially on that last throw.
Well, and that last throw, you might say, if you're a Nebraska fan, what's wrong with Taylor? Here he goes again, turning the ball over. But if you talk to Bill Callahan tomorrow or the next day when they study the film and look at that play, you're actually going to find the coaches say to Terrence Nunn, Terrence, you've got to get out of your break and get to the point where Zach's expecting you to be, because Zach's going to get back, and based on the timing of the route, Mike, it might be one hitch and deliver it, and he's throwing it to a spot, and it's up to Terrence Nunn or his receivers to get to that spot. You've got to get off your coverage.
1st and 10 as they take over from the 35. Taylor, the junior from Norman, Oklahoma, now has Marlon Lucky, the freshman from Hollywood, in the backfield. And confused. Taylor, a little hitch and go. He got Nunn free for a second, but couldn't get it in the little window, and it falls incomplete. Grant Mason had the corner covered, but Willis Barringer, the safety, was hustling over after the hitch.
Well, he called this. He wants to try to pick on a soft corner. Engelman, the safety, gets right in the way, but it's okay because the out and up is called. He misses the throw, but it's interesting the way Nebraska right now against soft coverage from Michigan. They want to throw under it, they want to throw under it, then they want to try to get Michigan to bite on it, and they go around it. That time, Taylor just missed a big play.
Zach Taylor started 5 of 6. He's missed his last 5, and a flag down will back him up 5 more. So Nebraska's offense, this West Coast offense, getting stuck in a little bit of a rut right here.
Prior to the snap, false start offense number 85. 5-yard penalty, Second down.
We go back to Bob Devaney, took over in 1962, won 2 national titles. Then Tom Osborne, who was the mastermind of that offense with 3 national titles. Really, for 42 years, Nebraska offense was one thing, that great option offense. Bill Callahan coming in, I think it was like English is spoken in your house for 42 years, and all of a sudden somebody walked in and said, starting today, the official language of the house is Spanish. Everything you've ever heard is different.
I'd be in trouble.
It took last year to learn it, and this year to actually put it into sentences and make sense. And it has started to happen. Taylor hit there as his pass was a little late and incomplete. France Hardy, the intended receiver, but Michigan's starting to get a few more hits on the quarterback Taylor.
Mike, when you run an option offense for years and years, and let alone think about the team that Bill Callahan inherited. Frank Solich ran that option attack, and by running that option attack, you recruit certain quarterbacks, you recruit certain offensive linemen, of course receivers. What he's trying to do as a coach now is bring in playmakers at wide receiver, bringing in quarterbacks like Zach Taylor, recruiting offensive linemen with long arms that can do a good job in pass protection.
3rd and 15. This is a deep ball coming for Nunn. The coverage is good from Hall, and it takes him out of bounds and incomplete. So Michigan's defense, which Nebraska moved it on very easily early on, has now forced Taylor to miss his last 7 with 2 interceptions. And Michigan's taking a little bit of control here in the second quarter.
It sure has, starting to win that battle up front, Mike. But that's the thing that people have to understand when you're evaluating Bill Callahan, is it's not just, hey, geez, look at these other coaches. They win in their first year. Look at Charlie Weiss, what he did. Well, Charlie Weiss was very fortunate to inherit a team with quarterback like Brady Quinn, Jeff Samardzija, Maurice Stovall, a Walker at running back. And it's because Tyrone Willingham had 2 or 3 years of recruiting there to bring in that kind of talent. It's going to take Bill Callahan 3 or 4 years of recruiting West Coast offense before you can really evaluate his offensive scheme.
55-yard punt by Cook, fielded by Preston on the hop, and Rigoni, a great special teams player, Brandon Rigoni, their top special teamer last year, in there to make a play again this year. So Michigan will have a long field to work with. And let's go back to that a second, because we heard at halftime of the Boise State-BC game, Lou Holtz was talking about his concerns about this Nebraska program because of the way they had built that dominant football factory that led to all those conference championships, that you have to change so many things, recruiting, the kind of players you bring in. And Coach Holtz's points are a lot of people bringing that up as well. And maybe that's why they won't turn it around as a West Coast offense. I think one thing we've seen is it's going to take some time for Bill Callahan to redefine who they recruit, where they recruit, and change everything about Nebraska football to try to get it to succeed. First down run for Hart. He lost 2, back to the 13-yard line. LaKeven Smith, a senior, makes the tackle.
With that said, Mike, he's going to make a lot of changes, but he also is still going to embrace the past. I mean, people are saying, why is he recruiting junior college players? Why is he going away with the walk-on system? Both of those are false statements. Of course, he's going out and looking for junior college players because he needs an infuse of talent right now. Guys who can come in right now, especially skilled players who can help them. So he's going to use the first couple years to bring junior college players in. They still welcome walk-ons to come to Nebraska. They still feel that's a very important part of their program and what they're trying to do.
Elijah Bradley is the running back for Michigan. He takes the screen from Henne and has room to run. Elijah Bradley, a first down across the 25 into the 27. Because we got on late with the length of the first game, there's a lot of cleanup on aisle 5 here to do, so let's get it done now. Jerome Jackson, Michigan's 3rd string running back, missed the Ohio State game with an ankle injury, is out tonight. Max Martin, who had 91 yards against Wisconsin on the road, he is back in Ann Arbor, and he did not make the trip for team disciplinary reasons. So Bradley, a former walk-on, who only carried it 19 times this year, he has come in, and he will be the 3rd running back. And Lloyd Carr told us yesterday he's going to play a little bit. Now Antonio Bass, a high school quarterback, comes in the game, takes the pitch, and gets to the 30-yard line, a gain of a couple of yards. Aaron, though, a lot of Michigan roster changes, including one guy back up front.
One guy up front in number 77, right tackle, big old Jake Long, and this whole Michigan offense. So glad he's back. What a crazy story. 3 weeks ago, they said he was done. He had a season-ending injury. They thought he had a ligament tear in his right foot. So the doctors went ahead. He underwent surgery. He woke up from being under, and they said, it's just an old injury. You won't further that injury if you go out and play. Big old Jake Long back out there, and everybody's happy to see him.
And he's the best offensive lineman, along with the left tackle, Adam Stenovich, for the Wolverines. 2nd and 8, play action, deep drop. Henny's so good at stepping up. Throwing for Preston, incomplete. Terrific coverage at Tietke for the 3rd time tonight. He was aiding Courtney Grigsby, the sophomore safety.
Boy, Tietke all over the field right now. He and McEwen seem to be making every play. Mike, that time Grigsby was beat. Manningham got by him, and once he got by him, look at this. It looks like it's a big play, and out of nowhere, Tietke comes over to knock the ball away. Very fortunate, the safety in the middle of the field, reading the eyes of Chad Henne, getting over there to bat that ball away. Now another 3rd down for the Wolverines.
My apologies. I see that great helmet running that fast. I thought it was Preston. There's Manningham busting it that way. Henny's going to take a timeout here. Play clock running down. And not enough time to go read the defense. 5.5 gone by. 2nd quarter. Michigan, Nebraska. Just sounds like a great game. So far, it's been pretty darn good. And then Mike Massey caught the touchdown after Tyler Ecker did. Both Michigan touchdowns from their tight ends. 14-7 Wolverines over Nebraska. After the Michigan called timeout, we have 3rd and 8 from the 30. Nebraska disguising their pressure. Here they come. Henne sacked. Good pressure from the nation's leader in sacks this year, Nebraska, Ola DeGundro, the junior out of Inglewood, California. One of those junior college players who came in to give a spark of talent to the Cornhuskers, forces a punt.
Mike, you touched on it. They're kind of hopping around, bouncing around, and I think they confused the offensive line. Reuben Riley, big center Adam Krause. I think there's some confusion. The pressure gets to them. Remember, Nebraska leads the nation in sacks coming into this game, and their defensive coordinator, Kevin Cosgrove, has done a great job. 2nd year, the players and he are starting to get on the same page.
Very familiar with what Michigan has done offensively. He's the former Wisconsin defensive coordinator. Ross Ryan was rushed, not a great kick, and a fair catch signal was made. Good field position. Nunn's fair catch coming at the 44. Well, when this bowl matchup came out, also with the big names of the schools, one thing was brought to mind. 1997 season when Brian Griese on Rose Bowl New Year's Day led Michigan over Washington State 21-16. Charles Woodson, the Heisman winner, took him to the top of the polls for the media. But the next night in Miami against Peyton Manning's Tennessee team, Tom Osborne's team walked away as the #1 team in the coaches poll, winning the national title. First down run for Ross is a gain of a yard. So a lot of folks said, boy, here's the unfinished business that can get taken care of again. And then you add to that storyline, these two teams, 1-4 all-time in wins in college football, 85 combined conference titles, all the bowl games, 16 times recognized as the national championship, each doing it in 97, the last time around, and each has had 3 Heisman winners. So all the talk of unfinished business was out there. Nebraska has to take a timeout here because they were starting to get a situation where they had 12 on the field, an illegal substitution. So they don't take the penalty, they burn the timeout. Anyway, people wanted to say right away, well, here you go. Here's the game that people have been looking forward to for years. As a matter of fact, guys who were offensive linemen for the Detroit Lions, teammates, Jeff Backus and Dominic Raiola, represented both schools in that era, and they said, hey, here are our guys going head-to-head. Fact of the matter is, it can't be unfinished business. Other than Lloyd Carr and a couple of Michigan assistants, nobody's left. The players who were playing in this game, the oldest of players was a high school freshman then.
I know, we were talking to the players, and they said, you know, it's kind of cool. I mean, it's not. We remember the year, we remember the teams, but I was in 7th grade, so it really doesn't apply to me very much, other than the pride for my school. But you know, you can bet that Lloyd Carr, who was heavily involved that year, he probably has thought about that from time to time. This is a different year, a different team, and both teams have goals to try to achieve this year and try to finish off in a strong point.
But one story did come out of the one person left really with the biggest ties, and Aaron can add more on Lloyd Carr's angle on this 97.
That's right. We were just talking about how happy they were that Jake Long was back. And a couple of weeks ago, when it was announced that Nebraska and Michigan were going to play in this bowl, Long said in a press conference, hey, Coach told us this is a redemption game, and we got to go out and show them that in 97 we were the national champs, and we've got to beat them and prove it to everyone. Coach Carr said, I got to check Jake's notes. That's not what I told him. He must be writing down the wrong thing. We did ask Jake about it. He said, yeah, I was wrong, guys.
Pressure and a sack on second down as Taylor is snowed under by Pierre Woods and Pat Massey. Lamar Woodley there as well. They all met at the quarterback. It's been a pretty good first half for the Massey brothers.
Mike, Michigan and Jim Herman, I think, have figured out how Nebraska is trying to attack. I talked about the soft corners, and the way Michigan has made an adjustment is those corners are still soft, and they're taking away the out and up, and they're taking away the vertical threats, but they're using their inside players, the linebackers and safeties, to dive underneath and get underneath those out throws, not leaving Zach Taylor with nobody to throw to.
Corner blitz picked up. Taylor throws, knocked down and incomplete. Good job by Michigan's Sean Grable to get a hand up there. And in the last 11 plays, Nebraska has -2 yards. You can see the frustration on Taylor, who's missed his last 8.
Like I'm talking about the coverage adjustments, the other thing that has happened is he went from having a lot of time to throw the ball. They had a more balanced attack in those first 2 or 3 possessions. They were running the ball. Now they're just strictly dropping back and trying to throw. I think they've got to get back to trying to run Corey Ross a little bit more to get more balanced.
Sam Cook to punt it. Steve Preston awaits. 45-yard kick. Preston from the 15. Good coverage by Nebraska, brought down at the 22-yard line. A return of 7 on the play. Halfway through quarter number 2, Michigan gets the ball back, leading by 7. Part of the fiesta that is Capital One Bowl Week, the MasterCard Alamo Bowl. I love the Riverwalk. It's a great area.
Gosh.
One of the reasons this is an awesome bowl destination, no rental cars. You get to your hotel, you can walk to the Dome, you can walk to all the establishments down the Riverwalk. The teams get to interact. What a great setting this is here in San Antonio.
Great food.
Oh,
Big. Great food. If you get a chance to come down here,
we're still looking for our first bad food stop of the year.
I just want to say, if you follow the Michigan Playbook 101, Michigan 101, they're due for a hitch and go, something vertical, because it's been a few series since they've attempted that.
First and 10 from the 23. Henny underneath Jason Avant. Room is cleared for the senior from Ohio. Gain of about 6. Just shy of the 30. Adam Ickes made the tackle. Adam Ickes, the tackle man from Page, Nebraska. Town of 157. And they have one place in there, the country corner, where everybody gathers to watch Nebraska football. So we say hello to them tonight as their 2-time first-team academic Big 12 linebacker made the tackle.
Mike, you know this as well as anybody. Michigan likes to lull you to sleep with some running, some short passing, and then next thing you know, they'll take their shot deep.
Brady stumbling forward for a first down. Kevin took it out to the 37-yard line.
Nebraska linebackers have been impressive tonight. You know, I mean, it was a big concern coming in. They've had some injuries, and watching these guys run around and make some plays, it's been a very important thing. You look at this. I mean, you're looking at 3 players that would be on the field contributing and starting.
Absolutely.
I mean, these are great. There's Stuart Bradley saying, you know, give us a little love, fellas.
Bradley started the first 5 games at the strong side linebacker. Henny on the play action, rolls it, throws it to Mike Massey, who absorbs a heavy hit from Brandenburg. He's the linebacker who's in for Bo Rude. Rude, a sophomore, out with a broken arm that happened after the Colorado game in preparation for this one. So Brandenburg, the sophomore from Overland Park, Kansas, took over the starting role, and he has played very well so far.
I've been very impressed with their lateral movement. Mike Brandenburg 40, McEwen 13. He's been all over the field. Ickes 49. Filling in. That's the one thing when you have a lot of injuries to a certain position. One thing it does, it allows you to grow and get a lot more depth. This will be a great group next year for Kevin Cosgrove.
2nd and 8. Isolated on the near side is Manningham. Henny goes that way, almost intercepted. Zach Bowman read it, and he had it, and almost had a lot of room to run.
This is an area where Chad Henne has gotten into some trouble this year. He held on and he held on and he held on, and in the process of holding on and waiting for Manningham, he was telegraphing the throw. And he held on just too long. Very, very fortunate that time that Bowman did not hold on to that football, because if he breaks free, there's no one there. That's a touchdown for Nebraska.
And the Nebraska defense needs to make a couple of big plays here. 3rd and 8 from the 39. Manningham in motion across the formation. Pressure. Quick toss deflected and incomplete. Once the ball is deflected, you can do anything to a receiver. You can knock him down, hit him. So there's no pass interference. It's a smart, intelligent play by Bowman on a Vaughn. Brandenburg tipped it.
Brandenburg tipped it, I think, with his forehead. It went off his helmet. Good play nonetheless. He got up. The pressure was there. Again, the two linebackers, McEwen coming, Brandenburg coming. The ball goes off the forehead of Brandenburg, and good decision, Mike. You're right. Bowman knew that the ball was tipped, and he went into attack mode.
Nebraska walked in some pressure, so Charles Stewart, the gunner, comes down for Michigan. Nebraska coming after Ross Ryan here. And they back out of it and call it off. Picked up on the run by Nunn. Only returned a couple of yards to the 30. Olivo comes up with a tackle for the Wolverines. Well, Capital One Bowl Week continues tomorrow. Georgia Tech takes on Utah in the Emerald Bowl, and then the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl, as Oregon, the highest-ranked team in the Bowl Championship Series standings, not in a BCS game, takes on Oklahoma. It is a great scene and usually a great game in San Diego. Keith Jackson, Dan Fouts, and Todd Harris will be there. It'll be great to hear those guys tomorrow night on ESPN, the second game of our doubleheader.
This is when it starts to get fun to watch the conferences and how they stack up against the better teams from each conference.
Zach Taylor takes over from his own 29 to Corey Ross, the senior I-back. 6 to the 35. Grant Mason takes him out of bounds. Sports Center 30-30. Again, here's Reese Davis.
All right, Mike, the end of the MPC Computers Bowl. Boston College almost blew a 27-0 lead, but Boise State's Jared Zabransky throws a pick to Ryan Glasper, and BC hangs on to win its 6th straight bowl game, 27-21. And Wayne Gretzky will be behind the bench for the Coyotes tonight. He has been away from his team for the last 10 days after the passing of his mother. Coyotes play the Sharks. Sports Center after the game.
And ESPN News always on. Reese will have anything big to tell you, and the highlights of that first game coming up at halftime. On second down, Taylor in trouble, and he is brought down. The ball might have come out there as well. Let's see. Nope, did not. Taylor still has it. Just a sec. Lamar Woodley and Alan Branch meet at the quarterback. Woodley continuing his good season. He has returned to health. He has not been full strength for nearly a month. Michigan and Nebraska, only 59 yards combined on the ground. So the old Blues and the old Reds are going, what's happened? Where's my old school? 2 Nebraska turnovers, back-to-back passes by Taylor, intercepted. The second one allowed Michigan to score a touchdown. The return game and the turnovers have given Taylor a long field, Michigan a short field thus far. Did he get the timeout first or delay a game? Flag is down in the secondary. Let's see if it's a flag first or the timeout was acknowledged.
There is no flag on the play. Timeout, Nebraska, their second.
They have one left and will step out with 4.5. When we come back, it'll be 3rd and 9 for the Huskers from their own 31. Nebraska's had 3 and outs or interceptions their last 5 drives. They have 3rd and long here, Kirk.
Mike, let's keep an eye on Nebraska's offensive line. This has been an Achilles heel for most of the year. They've allowed 33 sacks this year. That's 1 every 12 pass attempts. And that's what's gotten Taylor into trouble this year, as he's a lot of times hasn't had time. Here comes Michigan again.
They back out this time. Taylor buys some time, fires down the middle for none. First down at the 44-yard line. Part of the reason Michigan couldn't get there, they ran a stunt. 2 Wolverines ran into each other. Taylor stepped up, bought some time. Big gain for first down.
Mike, you're right. They ran it. 2 players ran into each other. Crable, one of them. But I'm just surprised on 3rd down with an offensive line that has a reputation of caving in that they decided to back up. And I understand mixing up looks, but you got an offense right now on their heels. Keep attacking.
Ross next to Taylor. And marker down for movement. How many times did Nebraska run the ball today?
Well, early, again, Mike, those first couple series, I thought it was old Nebraska. Lined up in the I formation, Corey Ross having some big holes to run through.
Prior to the snap, false start offense, number 75, 5 yards, first down.
Everybody in the truck dialed in, listening. 12-run plays, 60 passes. It feels like there have been so many more because a lot of the rushes have ended up being early, and Taylor scrambling for his life over the last couple of plays.
I really think that to have success against this Michigan defense, you've got to at least have the threat of running the football. And maybe they'll get back to that because that's something that Corey Ross can provide for you to slow down that pressure.
1st and 15, a screen for Ross, who is obliterated by Alan Branch. Alan Branch from Rio Rancho, New Mexico, is 311 pounds. He lost a whole bunch of weight to get down to 311. In high school, he was a quarterback and a punter at like 260. He's a great athlete, a future star, and snuffed that play out right away.
What a versatile player, Mike. Because of that athletic ability and size at 6'6", 315, he can move inside, he can go to the outside because of his quickness that time. From his nose guard position, he sniffed out that quick screen and was right there to bring down Ross.
His nickname is Tree, too big to be a branch. Second down throw to France Hardy, the sophomore who was Taylor's teammate last year in junior college at Butler County, makes that grab.
That's Taylor. That is Taylor's favorite throw. He can throw that throw in his sleep. He just, for whatever reason, certain quarterbacks have a comfort zone and a comfort level when they get back and throw a route. And for Zach Taylor, it's the outcut. He just loves the outcut, and it's going to be an area that they're going to try to attack this Michigan defense. And he's throwing to his roommate from junior college, so you know their timing is down very well.
We talk about the lack of runs. Only one designed run the last 4 possessions for Nebraska. Marty Aronoff, our stat man, the number there. Here's number 2. Corey Ross hit the hole hard. Corey Ross down the sideline. Pushed out of bounds. A late hit flag coming in as well. Nebraska will take it inside the 10 after the late hit out of bounds.
Mike, this is what we're talking about. This time it's 3rd down, but they're going to do a nice job here, just getting quickness and going to the outside. J.B. Phillips, the slot back, gets to the outside, picks up a block, but really it's about getting to the outside, extending it horizontally.
After the play, late hit, number 27. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Brandon Harrison's second mistake tonight.
And then once Ross Mike gets to the outside, he has such a burst upfield. It allows him to pick up the first down, and then a very poor decision by the freshman from Dayton, Ohio.
Had no idea where he was in the football field, and you can't do that. So Nebraska takes it inside the red zone with a chance to tie the game.
Mike, they've got to realize that the threat of Ross is something that is very, very important to them throughout the entire game. And he is such a low center of gravity, powerful runner. With that threat will slow down that Michigan front 7 on Zach Taylor when he drops back to throw.
Empty backfield. Ross was out as a receiver. He's now brought back in by Taylor, who takes off to run. Flag came down. They probably had him by the face mask. He's trying to reel him in. So it'll be 1st and goal from even closer, right around the 5-yard line.
If they call the face mask, I want to see if they got a hold of the shoulder pad here.
Personal foul.
Yeah, they must have got a hold of the face mask.
Foul half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
On Gabe Watson, first-team all-conference performer. And the automatic first down.
2 big plays here for Nebraska. Back, oh yeah, without a doubt, 15 yards. His hand kind of slid off it, but once you go in there with that big paw, it's going to be a personal foul. Now they're inside the 5-yard line after 2 personal foul, back-to-back personal foul calls against this Michigan defense.
Here's Jim Herman, 24 years a Wolverine. It's a player, a graduate assistant, now the defensive coordinator. Play action, Taylor stumbling. Flag is down as he throws for the touchdown to Phillips. But a flag came down as they were close to getting Taylor. Husker fans are cheering, but I think they're going to be quieted pretty quickly. Chris Patrick, they've been holding.
Holding. Offense number 54. 10 yards from the previous spot. Replay first down.
The only Michigan native on this Nebraska team. He's from Ithaca.
That time it was a tackle. Tim Jamison coming off the left side as he comes in. Watch the tackle by Patrick. Brings him down. It's a good call by the officials. Very surprised. Again, inside that 5-yard line, you would expect maybe a run.
Yeah.
But they go with play action on 1st and 10 with the penalty. Now they get moved back.
So it's still 1st and goal, but backed up to the 50. Jamison, one of those young tackles Kirk was talking about. Pressure from Michigan. Taylor underneath. It is Swift. It is 6. Touchdown, Nebraska.
Michigan here caught in a blitz. They're 2 middle linebackers right up the middle. Look at the void right over the middle. Swift is able to get away from the safety, Jamar Adams, into the open space and into the end zone. Great recognition that time by Zach Taylor, finding the weakness of that Michigan defense after the 2 inside linebackers blitzed. There was a big void right in the middle for the touchdown.
Jordan Congdon adds the extra point. Well, Brenton Gary had a good game last night in this time slot on ESPN. Rutgers, Arizona State was a good one. This one equaling the excitement of that one. All tied at 14. Here's a look at the scoring drive presented by Drive Insurance from Progressive. Longest scoring drive of the night for the Huskers. In terms of time and plays, the first one was a quick strike of 73 yards in 4 plays. So each team a touchdown in the first, a response here in the second. Nate Swift, who came in as a freshman and caught a freshman record 42 passes this regular season. And Nebraska passing records, that's the one enticement for a recruit. Hey, if you come here, you're likely going to set school records in passing. We didn't do that much for the last 40 years.
Well, the other thing that I think Bill Callahan's trying to sell to recruits is, hey, come in here and play in this offense and get ready for the next level.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just like Charlie Weiss is selling in Notre Dame.
There you see a comparison of the 2 quarterbacks tonight. Taylor's 2 interceptions, 1 led to a touchdown. Penny was lit up early, but has come back to steady his play in the second quarter.
For Zach Taylor, he had missed 8 throws in a row with 2 interceptions. It didn't look like anything was going right. And give him credit and give this offense credit. He was 5 for 5 for 56 yards on that drive after really struggling as an offense, and him in particular.
He was 3 for 3 on the opening touchdown drive. After they scored the last time, Preston had a 69-yard kickoff return. Hits the hole hard here, but runs into traffic and is brought down at the 27-yard line by Jeff Sauter, a linebacker. Reese Davis, what do you have on the table for halftime?
All right, Mike, on the Dodge halftime report. Lou and Mark alongside, as always, had a fantastic finish in Boise. We'll let you feel the Vince vibe, and the Coyotes have their coach, the great one, back.
We all marvel at the running ability of Texas quarterback Vince Young, but I'll bet you'd be shocked at how many rushing touchdowns Matt Leonard has.
And at halftime, I explained how it isn't real difficult to blow a 27-0 lead in a bowl game. I've done it.
Does that make it easier or harder?
No, I've done it, though.
See you, Mike.
All right, guys, we'll see you at halftime. 1st and 10 for the Maize and Blue. They take over from their own 28. The sophomore Henny didn't like the first 2 things he saw. Brought down, and it'll be a sack again. LaKeven Smith, the senior, who tore his ACL, ligament in his knee as a freshman, has come back to be a 3-year starter, played his best football this season, loss of 2.
Great coverage again by Nebraska, Mike. It's the second time we've seen a coverage sack against Chad Henne.
Michigan, hurry up, no huddle. Usually very good in this. Henne, room to run. Heading for the first down marker and getting there at the 40-yard line.
We've seen this second time from Chad Henne showing some wheels there. He's pretty excited. But I think this game so far for Michigan, you go back, Mike, to what happened to the Wolverines against Minnesota. They were 3-2 at this point. Late in the game, Minnesota's just trying to kill the clock. Gary Russell gets down the right sideline, sets up the game-winning field goal. Michigan's looking at themselves in the big house at 3-3. Lloyd Carr's thinking, we got 5 games to go. How are we going to turn this thing around? They lose the Little Brown Jug, and next thing you know, they got to play Penn State at home, Iowa on the road.
Oh, what a catch by Hart, who was hurt in that Iowa game. Comes out for 8 yards to the 48-yard line. Minute 55 turning clock.
I was just really proud of the way they were able to turn things around after a devastating loss, to come right back and be able to win against Penn State on the last play, to go to Iowa City with all the injuries and all the adversity that they faced. And you look at this game and the way it started, this game kind of symbolized the way their year's gone.
Henny, deep ball for Manningham, who couldn't bring it in. That was terrific coverage. Step for step by Zachary Bowman. And we'll have third and a short two really coming up. You know, Kirk, you talk about that turning point and the Penn State game, the drive down the field, and really the kick return by Steve Breaston after Penn State did the wonderful job, Michael Robinson leading them down the field. A wild fourth quarter. Breaston the big kick return. Manningham catches the game-winning touchdown. It was part of an unbelievable stretch. All these close games in the final 30 seconds or overtime that Michigan played, essentially 5 in a row. Here is Hart up the middle. First down from Mike Hart to the 46-yard line. 83 seconds left. Clock stops to move the chains.
Wolverines are going to go no huddle, Mike, but I always love to see that in college football. Sign of really good character, great coaching. When a team hits that adversity and they're able to fight through it and stick together, that's what this Michigan team's been able to do this year.
Senior receiver Carl Tabb, one of the 4 receivers in the game for Henny, who throws incomplete. Intended for his tight end. Decker will have second down coming up. In terms of timeouts remaining here in the first half, Michigan has all 3. Nebraska has 1.
The reason we bring this up is they're facing adversity again tonight. This Nebraska team has come to win this football game. I don't know how many people across the country thought Nebraska would walk in here and win this game and be able to do it. And I think that negative energy, they fed off of that preparing for this game. They are fired up tonight to take on Michigan.
My mistake, Michigan has 2 timeouts remaining. 1 for Nebraska, 2nd and 10. Good blitz pickup, not the second one. Henny put it up for grabs, and it is incomplete with no pass interference call. What a great blitz pickup, a great second blitz, and I think a poor call. Was it tipped?
It wasn't tipped, but as soon as Henny released the football, the motion of the ball was affected by Tietke, and a delayed blitz right there. He comes through. Now, the ball was not actually tipped at all.
That's a bad call.
Right. The ball was not tipped at all, but as soon as Henny released the football, he was hit by Tietke, and it affected the trajectory of the football.
So it looked like it was tipped.
Exactly.
But it was.
That's the only thing I'm trying to help the officials out.
Hey, they're nice guys.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you what I see.
Right.
3rd and 10. Henny, the slant for Manningham, behind him, and incomplete. Zach Bowman and Manningham have a good battle going on here. Bowman has done a nice job on the right side of the defense for the Huskers. 4th down.
Most impressive thing to me that I've seen from Nebraska is the way this defense is played. This defense is, you think about how big and strong they were, and you think, well, we'll see how they handle the Michigan offensive line, and Michigan being healthy for the first time all year. They've given up 14 points, but I'll tell you, Mike, this Nebraska front 7, they are physical, and they are winning, for the most part, winning that battle up front.
Well-coached crew by Kevin Cosgrove, the defensive coordinator. Ross Ryan to kick it away. Very high, not as deep as he would have hoped. Fair catch. A Nebraska player ran into a Nebraska player, so the ball wasn't touched. It is Nebraska ball, but Michigan downs it inside the 10-yard line. Tyler Fisher got in the way of his return man. Nearly became a disaster. Worked out okay. Capital One Bowl Week continues Friday. Another doubleheader on ESPN. Will Steve Spurrier's South Carolina team take on Missouri. And then Miami of Florida in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl taking on LSU. Not the very best way for a new quarterback to be welcomed in against that Miami Hurricane defense.
Tough way. Tough way to break in for Matt Flynn.
The injury to Jamarcus Russell. Well, this play is going to be reviewed. I don't know if they are reviewing if the ball was touched by a Nebraska player. They want to review where the ball was touched.
The ball didn't didn't appear to hit a Nebraska player. It really didn't appear to come close to a Nebraska player. The only thing you can imagine is got to be reviewing the spot of the football.
And they are checking for where Michigan touched it. So instead of the 9-yard line, I believe it's going to be at about, let's see, the 14 or 15 when that first touch happens. So it'll add 5 for Nebraska, and we head to the final minute.
Mike, whether it's tonight, we've touched on this, and I'll continue to talk about this throughout the bowl season before you get to the BCS games, whether it's tonight, whether it's the Holiday Bowl, whether it's the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, no matter which game it is, you cannot realize, unless you're a player, a coach, or you're on site to see these teams prepare for these games, how important and how much is on the line. It's not about the BCS. It's not about the national championship. It's about the pride, and it's about building for the future and building momentum for next season.
But on the 14-yard line, it's first down.
All right, so Nebraska will take over there. Yeah, we talk about a playoff very often, and once you're in the bowl system, you understand its value to programs and players. It's funny, Lloyd Carr said after the bowl bids came out that he actually has changed his mind and he's in favor of a playoff. It struck me like the day that we heard that McDonald's was going to open in Moscow. I was like, it can't be right. That doesn't. This man thinks there's going to be a playoff in college football or would like to see one. Run with Corey Ross. Going to try to run the clock out here. He gets no gain. He got us excited about it as we talked to him yesterday. He said, can you imagine LSU coming to play in Columbus against Ohio State, or maybe a 13 seed Michigan going down to Florida State, or think of the matchups on campus in the first round of a playoff, and he was excited. And as he talked about it, that sounds pretty good.
Oh, it sounded great. And again, people always ask, what's the biggest surprise this year in college football? I would have to say one of the top 2 biggest surprises is Lloyd Carr saying we need a playoff, because he was as a coach, he was against the playoff because he thought it was too much on the kids. But once he saw, hey, they're going to the 12th game, what the heck? But I love the idea of keeping it. He's a coach in Ann Arbor. He wants to keep it with the cold weather opportunities for a Michigan or for Ohio State or for a team like a Penn State or a Notre Dame, where if they're a higher seed and you take, let's say, the top 16 teams, you would, if you're a top 8 team, you're going to have a home field opportunity. It would definitely create a buzz, that's for sure. And
it is interesting, the point that he made as well, that teams in the Midwest and even a lot of the Big 12 teams always go into warm weather destinations for the larger payout bowl games. They're at a disadvantage playing the Floridas, the Miamis, the Florida States, the USCs, Texas. It's an interesting concept. We are years away from it happening, but it was surprising and intriguing, and I think influenced by the fact that the Outback Bowl took Iowa, same record as Michigan. However, Michigan beating Iowa at Iowa in overtime. The Wolverines haven't said it publicly. They wanted to go to Florida. That's where they recruit. They don't recruit down here. They wanted to keep their string of post-New Year's Day bowl games. Felt that they earned that on the field. I think we're a little twisted in the wrong direction by the decision from the Outback Bowl to go for hotels and tickets sold over the winningest program of all time. Run by Ross, no game.
That's the saddest part of the bowl structure, is that we're rewarding teams based on how they travel, or how many television sets they turn on, or how many hotels they're going to occupy. That doesn't sound like that's in the best interest of the student athletes.
Well, that's what pushed Carr over the edge. He said the coach, and I'm quoting now, the commissioners, the bowl people, and TV shouldn't decide who ends up with the postseason success. It really should be decided on the field, and his feeling now is the way the system goes, that the best way to decide it is 16 teams in the playoff. Now, the university presidents and chancellors don't feel that way, and we are in another BCS 4-year cycle after this season comes done. So you're not talking about this happening until 2010. But I think when the coach of a program like Michigan and somebody who's respected in this business like Lloyd Carr has changed his mind, and don't ever say Lloyd's stubborn anymore, folks in Ann Arbor, and he's completely gone a 180 on this. When somebody does that, that says, hey, maybe there are people in the sport who are willing to change their view of it.
No, and I think there are a lot of people out there that are. I think it's been great. We've had a lot of fun with Lloyd Carr the last couple days, sitting down and have a chance to talk with him. He's up on the horse. He's got the hat on. These players have had a chance to get around San Antonio, actually had a chance to spend some time with one another, and have had a great time. There's Pierre Woods, Michigan players showing some bravery there.
Well, they saw the Longhorns in the bowl last year, the Rose Bowl. Let's see Longhorn again this year. Michigan's out of timeouts, 3rd and 10. Ross runs up the middle, but a penalty marker comes in before this play.
Prior to the snap, timeout, Nebraska.
Good stuff. All right.
We've emptied out all the timeouts here. And just one final point on this whole playoff bowl thing. It's funny that it's said now by Carr, because if there was a 16-team playoff, Michigan wouldn't be in it, nor would Nebraska. And this month has been very valuable for Nebraska's young players, Michigan's young players, a chance for teams that were 7-4 to come up with a very good springboard for the 2006 season.
Mike, this is going to be a great second half. I mean, you look at these two teams and you think about what's at stake for Michigan. They're 7-4. 7-4. If they were somehow to lose this game in the second half and finish 7-5, it's their worst record since going back to the year they played BYU in the Holiday Bowl in 1984, where they finished 6-6. That's 21 years ago for Lloyd Carr, Michigan. Lloyd Carr, I couldn't believe, I was telling you, game day was up at East Lansing for Penn State, Michigan State. I was driving back to Columbus, back home on Sunday after the Michigan-Ohio State game, listening to some of the talk radio in Ann Arbor and Detroit the Sunday after the Ohio State-Michigan game, and poor Lloyd Carr was just getting lambasted, just bombarded by calls, one after another. So there is a lot at stake for Lloyd Carr, a lot at stake for Michigan in this game, and of course a lot at stake for Bill Callahan, Nebraska.
Ross running to the outside, needs to stay in bounds, does so. He's going to take the clock all the way down. Depending on when the ball is spotted, Nebraska probably will not have to punt it. It laid there long enough that they will not have to punt, and this half will come to an end.
Great first half there for Bill Callahan and the Huskers to be tied at 14. That gives them some confidence as they get into the locker room here at halftime.
Clock running down here as we get to the end of the first half, and here's Aaron.
Coming back and overcoming.
All right, we're going to talk to Coach right now. Coach, how was Zach Taylor able to regain his poise after throwing those 2 interceptions into tie it up?
He's fine. He's a competitor. He came back real good. You know, you watch that 3rd and long throw. He stepped right back up in the pocket and made a crunch time throw right before the half here. So he's got no problem coming back.
All right, Coach, thanks. Mike.
Thank you, Aaron. Michigan will get the ball to start the 3rd quarter. Pretty good first half here at the MasterCard Alamo Bowl. All tied at 14. Now Reese Davis, Lou Holtz, Mark May, Dodge halftime report. San Antonio, the latest stop on our tour around America. Capital One Bowl Week, the 13th playing of the MasterCard Alamo Bowl. Second half set to begin. Michigan gets the ball first. Each team a touchdown in each quarter. Aaron Andrews and Kirk Herbstreit, Mike Tirico. Looking forward to the second half. When you look, I thought you made a great point as we were in the middle of the second quarter, that the first half was a microcosm of both teams' seasons, the up, the down, and now try to bounce back from the poor spot that each team has hit.
Yeah, I think this first half, both teams had faced some adversity, much very similar to the way they did throughout the year. And you think about Chad Henne and Michigan, what they went into early in the game. If you didn't see it, boy, this game started fast for Nebraska. Took advantage of some emotion, jumped out to a 7-0 lead, and it was this 3rd and 10 scramble by Henne, while the momentum was favoring Nebraska, that turned the tide and set up that touchdown pass to Eckler. Nebraska then, it seemed like the momentum was going in the other direction. All of a sudden, Michigan comes up with a big turnover. They go up 14-7, and before half, Nate Swift goes into the end zone to tie this game up. So both teams hit some adversity. Both teams fought through it, as you said, kind of the microcosm of the way they faced that adversity throughout the year and come out positive on the other end.
Really, you said it. I was just repeating your good point.
Well, you said it here right now.
Oh, you said
say nothing.
You said. There you see the numbers.
Happy holidays.
Michigan only 22 carries and 44 yards. Mark May pointed out that's not what you're used to seeing out of a Michigan team, and credit some of that to good play from the front 7 of Nebraska.
Michigan getting the 2 turnovers. Boy, you think about their two scoring drives. They've had short field on both their scoring drives. 30-yard drive and a 28-yard touchdown drive.
Steve Preston taking a couple of yards deep in the end zone and bringing it out. return out to the 27-yard line. Nebraska players shake it up on the tackle, and while we have a second, let's go down to Aaron Andrews.
Hey, Mike, I had a chance to speak with Michigan head coach Lloyd Carr on his way out from the locker room, and he echoed the same sentiment as Mark May and you guys up there in the booth. He said, what a poor job we did on the ground game. He said the adjustments here for the second half, we've got to find a way to counter Nebraska's front seven. He said, I thought these guys were injured. Up to you guys.
All right, Aaron, thank you. Tyler Fisher was the player who was virtually wiped out on that hit as he's helped off the field. Watch this.
Watch Cadavy, 47, come right through. That's the way you start off the second half.
Send a message.
Breaking the wedge up.
Some hard collisions on that one. Ball back at the 22. Mike Hart runs for 3. They're right there. You see that extra yard and a half? He got it out to the 26-yard line.
Squirm it out.
That's what Mike Hart does. He never, ever stops. His feet are always going.
That's what they've missed all year for the most part. He has not been healthy with the exception of maybe a game or two, and he's been fighting injuries. Look at him, Mike, you're right. He stays low, powerful, low center of gravity, great balance, great vision, and the most important thing, the intangibles that he brings to the table for this Michigan team as a leader, just as a true sophomore.
2nd and 7. Chad Henne, also a true sophomore, had to get rid of it as he was about to get hit. Hart was in the neighborhood, so no intentional grounding. Adam Ickes comes up with the pressure.
Like Nebraska has an attitude going for them tonight with their front seven. I think they're tired of hearing about how they don't match up well. We're going to find out. This is maybe the best offensive line they've seen all year. They've had to hear about that from their coaches and from the media preparing for this game. And throughout this entire game, they've played with a chip on their shoulder.
3rd down. Henne steps up in the pocket, tries to escape, but could not. Ola DeGundro, who made a big play earlier in this game, he held on to Chad Henne, got him to pull out of his shoe, and his play forces a Michigan 3-and-out to start the second half.
What a way to start this second half for Nebraska. Great coverage downfield. The pressure is there, and there's the man right now, the hour, Kevin Cosgrove, the defensive coordinator. Spent 12 seasons in the Big Ten, did a great job, and now all of a sudden has a chance to be in Nebraska, and this is an opportunity for him and his defense facing Michigan.
Courtney Grigsby awaits the Ross Ryan punt. Fair catch signaled and made at the 35-yard line. Punt of 38. Good field position for Nebraska to start this third quarter.
Beg your pardon there, Mike. Kevin Cosgrove thinking about 12. It's 22 years. He has been in the Big Ten for a long time, and he made a good point saying, you know, second year, not only do the players understand what I'm trying to get out of them in the second year, but we're understanding the Big 12 a little bit better as a staff. And some of the tendencies from some of the teams in the style of football and how different it is from the Big Ten. He said it is very different competing in the Big 12 compared to being in the Big Ten.
A lot of what Oklahoma does, a lot of the spread that Texas Tech has. Big pressure up the middle, and this is ruled an incomplete forward pass.
Fellas. Let's go. Make a call.
What pressure from Dave Harris busting up the middle, and it was ruled an incomplete forward pass.
Eventually. Pressure this time right up the middle. And that's what Michigan, with Dave Harris, the first half, when Nebraska goes to the empty set, keep an eye on 45, David Harris, because he is coming right up the middle and putting the pressure on Zach Taylor.
He hurt his knee his sophomore year. You know, it takes 2 years to get back from one of those ACLs. That's Harris's story. Pressure again. Gabe Watson and Harris with the hit. A flag is down on the opposite side of the field, away from the ball. The pass is incomplete for none. Coverage over there by Leon Hall, who had 2 picks in the first half. But way over on the other side, 45 yards horizontally from where the ball was, we have a flag in the secondary. You would guess defensive hold of
some sort, yeah. Yep. But Mike, you're right. You're locked in on up to the top of the screen and looking at the other side of the field.
Personal foul. Face mask. Defense number 13. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
On Grant Mason, former Stanford player, moved over to defensive side.
And Mike, for Zach Taylor, that first half, it was kind of an up and down first half because of the pressure. I mean, this is a tough quarterback. He has taken hits all year. 33 sacks, numerous knockdowns. And I said to him yesterday, I said, how many times have you just gone off in the huddle with that offensive line? He said, I can't do that. I mean, when I make a bad throw, they're not yelling at me. And he is a coach's son. His dad played at Oklahoma, was a coach at Oklahoma, a coach at Kansas State. Coach's son mentality. He's doing nothing but patting that young offensive line in the back and trying to motivate them. We'll see if he can motivate him here in the second half to give him a little bit more time.
Midfield, 1st and 10, and here is Taylor. Pressure, Michigan's getting a great pass rush here in this third quarter. Lamar Woodley, the pressure there. Time for a SportsCenter 30 at 30. Let's see if anything's changed. Here's Reese Davis.
All right, Mike, Brett Favre's had a tough year, very reflective at a news conference today, and while non-committal about his future, he did say it's possible he didn't fit into the Packers' plans anymore. No one has the heart to tell him. Much more on this story coming up at SportsCenter after the game. And Byron Leftwich back at practice with the Jaguars, questionable for Sunday's game against the Titans. SportsCenter after the game, ESPN News all the time.
Thank you, Reese. 2nd down and 10 for Nebraska. Back to the run. And Corey Ross breaking free. Corey Ross tripped up at the 25, again at 25. Brandon Harrison saved a touchdown for Michigan.
Mike, opportunity here with a counter, but watch the missed tackle right there. Missed tackle by Michigan's secondary. Behringer had an opportunity in the angle, but Corey Ross behind the big offensive line, and between his size and his power and explosiveness, it's very tough for those safeties who are coming up fast to contain him. That time he ran right by Behringer, who was untouched.
You say size, he's hard to see back there.
Yeah.
At 5'6". Now Marlon Lucky, the freshman, comes in to gain about 2 or 3 yards. We'll have 2nd and 7 coming up. Corey Ross, as I mentioned at the start of the game, 2nd-team all-conference running back. He did more of his damage as a receiver as the season went on. He caught 9 balls against Colorado, but doing it on the ground for the 2nd time in this game against the Michigan team. 2 years ago against Michigan State, he had 37 carries for 138 yards.
Mike, it's just enough of that running game gives that offensive line some confidence.
That was the player Fisher hurt earlier. Ross again explodes into the secondary. 1st down at the 14. Harrison again with the secondary hit on the running back row.
Mike, pay attention here. Watch how quick this cut is. Ooh! I hope he's got a good tape job there. He's spatted up there, so he's taking care of with the ankles. But he is one of these backs. We keep talking about his size, but he is so powerful and yet so explosive. I don't know why they don't run it more and put themselves in a better situation.
His 15th carry of the night takes him across the 10-yard line, just inside the 10. We'll have 2nd and about 5 coming up. He grew up in a very tough part of Denver, Colorado, and as a small guy, he and his siblings, he's one of 7. His mom was very protective of the whole family and told the boys, you got to stay in the house. You can't go hang out and be in places where you can get in trouble. He did that, followed a great example. His brother played college football in the Big 8, now Big 12. Corey following in his footsteps, and he's on the top 10 all-time rushing yard list at Nebraska. And when you do that, you're a pretty good back. We got movement by Chris Patrick, who had a holding penalty in the red zone in the 2nd quarter, now picks up a red zone flag again.
Prior to the snap, false start offense, number 54. 5 yards, 2nd down.
Mike, one of the things about Bill Callahan and all the movement that you see before the snap, it's great when it works for you as window dressing to confuse the defense with the multiple looks. The problem they've had throughout most of this year, still early in this system, is they've either run out of time with the play clock. There have been numerous false starts throughout this year, and that's the area that you're going to see continue to improve and get better. This is an execution, from an execution standpoint, is to get in and out of the huddle and to be able to get up to the line and not jump off the line of scrimmage.
Senior receiver Matt Schroeder comes to the game. He blocks on the edge as Ross sprints toward the 5-yard line. You know, receivers forever at Nebraska, all they did was block and block and block. And they bring Schroeder, a senior receiver, and he helps block as they run it into the boundary to get closer to the first down.
If I'm Bill Callahan, I'm just going to keep running the football. I mean, run the football because it creates an identity and it creates an attitude. And everybody wants to talk about West Coast offense. Hey, there's nothing against the rules to say you can't still run the football. And he follows again. J.B. Phillips at tight end as a slot back, and up the field they go to give themselves a chance here on 3rd and 2.
Toss. Ross may have gotten the first down. Let's check the spot. Yeah. That spot looks like it's a first down. Herbie, after 2 incompletions to start this drive, it's been 6 consecutive runs at an average of 10 per. And this one's going to be right at the line for the first down.
Mike, we were calling for it the entire first half about their first 2 drives. Boy, they were going up and down the field. They had such great balance, running and throwing, multiple formations. They looked like they were going to be an offense that was going to be tough to stop every series. And then they just started to, when they got behind and momentum changed, they started to throw the ball on nearly every play. And Michigan started to gain some confidence and pin their ears back. And here to start this second half, you're seeing a lot of what we saw in those first couple drives.
Another new receiver's in, Dan Erickson. Here is Ross probing, trying to get inside the 3, and he'll push it down near the 2. When you run in the middle there, that's the heart of the Michigan defense. You have Branch and Harris. Pierre Woods came over. Gabe Watson on the nose. Tough to get yards inside on the Wolverines. Jim Herman, the defensive coordinator, deeply loyal assistant to Lloyd Carr.
Mike, you got to keep feeding the ball to Corey Ross right now. Try to find a seam. They're going unbalanced to the bottom here with a big tackle lined up at tight end.
Seppo FYI moves that way. Here is Taylor throwing for the fullback. Todd incomplete and through his hands. Dane Todd didn't carry it all year. He caught it 8 times. Brilliant young man, a 4.0 academic All-American student, biological sciences. He's honored at Nebraska with, I think, one of the great honors for a football player at this school, the Brooks Behringer Scholarship. It's been 10 years this April since the Nebraska quarterback from the great run in the late 90s was tragically killed right around the weekend of the NFL draft in a plane crash. Scholarship in his name honors a great player. 3rd and goal. Taylor throws to Nunn. Did he get it? Yes! Touchdown! Certainly we'll take a look at it. Leon Hall on the coverage. The official says that Nunn scooped it before it hit the turf. And Nebraska takes the lead.
Mike, you see this in the NFL and you see it with the college teams. This is a fade stop. The ball is purposely thrown to the backside. Close call there, very close. We'll take another look. But the ball, the reason it was underthrown is that's the way the play is designed, to throw it away from the corner to give Nunn a chance.
Under review. Buzzer comes in. Play is stopped. For the life of me, I don't understand. Stop the game if it looks close live. I don't understand why they wait on touchdowns.
How about Coach Carr?
Lloyd Carr took a timeout to try to give them more time to look at it.
I don't blame him. This has been going on.
Yeah,
this has been going on all night.
But I don't.
We've seen 2 or 3 times tonight where there have been close calls. From up here, you can see it. You would think at the very least they'd take us another look without Lloyd Carr having to use a timeout.
That first angle that we saw gives you an idea. It might be a catch, you don't know.
Sure, but it's at least worth a look.
If it's a touchdown, and that's the rules of the game, don't mess around with what would be a score.
Here'll be a really good shot here.
Now the play is being reviewed. It would not have been if Carr didn't call timeout.
Isn't that a shame to have to waste a timeout to get the review?
The ball is touching the ground while he has contact, so that should be an incomplete pass.
Right.
Here's a great look at it.
Yeah. Ball slid through.
Yeah, it's sliding on the ground.
Ball hit the ground.
If you talk about this replay rule, and we're using the Big Ten system in this game and all the bowl games this year, the system needs to be standardized. And the officials are very careful about not slowing the game down too much by overstopping it to review, because people get very antsy when every little call is reviewed. But if it's a scoring play and for a second you think it's questionable, call down and stop the game.
Well, Leon Hall had an interception in his knee. We could see from here that his knee touched. He returned it for a touchdown. They called it a touchdown. Finally, they came back and said that he touched, but at the very least give it a look. It's a shame that Lloyd Carr has to waste a timeout to get the officials to realize the importance of taking a look from upstairs.
Unlike the NFL, you don't get the timeout back if the challenge is upheld. Secondly, it was Carr's move to get the official on the near side in the Michigan-Penn State game to call timeout, which is the rule that changed 2 years ago, that allowed them to put 2 seconds back on the clock of that game and allowed Manningham to catch the game-winning touchdown in Penn State's only loss of the year.
Plus, it's given Lloyd a chance to get in the ear of Grant Mason and some of the other defenders. Besides making sure the officials are doing their job, he wants to make sure his defense is waking up and coming up with playing some better defense. But, Mike, you bring up a great point. I think it's the next step with instant replay. This is the first step. Each conference had their own look.
This is going to be overturned because he asked where the previous spot was. Right. If I read his lips, and it was 3rd and goal, so it's going to be 4th and goal.
It almost has to be with that look. But I think it's a great idea to take it to the next step. Each conference, everybody get on the same page. When you watch these non-conference games, there's so much confusion. What's the rule? Who has the red flag? Who doesn't? How do you stop it? Who can stop it? I think the next step, hopefully, will be universal. Every conference will have the same look and the same rules that will apply.
Well, nice job in the truck, guys. They have blown up the picture so you can get a much better look at the ball, clearly sliding out of the control of his 2 hands. Yeah. Just think of the word having control of the reception. He never did. Zach Taylor's asking what it is, and the referee will tell everybody all at once. It'll be 4th down.
After reviewing the play, the ball hit the ground. The pass is incomplete. It's 4th down.
Well, it's worth the timeout.
It's a brilliant job by a coach.
Yep.
Brilliant job.
Well, if the officials aren't going to make the call, you've got to take advantage of your timeouts. It saved them, for now, it saved them a touchdown. We'll find out what happens.
So the unit that was on to kick the extra point will come out and kick an extra point-sized field goal. Nunn did a great job of trying to hide it and sneak it in. But you could clearly see on that picture that was blown up by our director, Mike Schwab, and the rest of the guys in the truck, that ball slid across the field. So it will be a field goal attempt for Jordan Congdon, who was one of the best kickers in the country this year as a freshman.
Is the ball on the right hash? The ball was not on the right hash on the incomplete pass.
That's right.
The ball was
a 20-yard field goal attempt for Congdon. Matters not at all as he knocks it through to put Nebraska on top. Well, Nunn almost had 6, but Lloyd Carr hopped on the officials and said, guys, give me a timeout. You better go look at this in replay, and it saved the Wolverines 4 points. And congratulations to Derek Fox, the president, CEO, Joe Lynchson, the chairman of this year's MasterCard Alamo Bowl. These guys put on a terrific week here in San Antonio. They try to kick away from Breaston, and they succeed as the return is brought out, except Carl Tabb has pretty good speed of his own. And the former River Rat at Huron High School in Ann Arbor, about 7 miles away from the Big House, with a nice return near the 40-yard line. He didn't get it in Breaston's hands, but he's still got a good kickoff return on the other side. Nebraska has scored the last 10 points to erase a 14-7 Michigan lead. And really, since that touchdown drive, early second quarter, Michigan's offense has kind of hit a lull here.
Mike, the reason they've hit a lull is because they're losing that battle up front. Nebraska's defensive front dominating Michigan's offensive line.
No true running back in the game on this formation. The throw is to Antonio Best. What a one-handed catch out of bounds in Nebraska territory. That was a legit one-handed snatch it out of the air by the kid who was a high school quarterback in Jackson, Michigan.
It's funny because the coaches say the best thing about him, great hands. The right hand doesn't even get into the picture. The right hand doesn't even come in to somehow balance himself and get the left hand makes the entire play. Then he has the presence of mind to get up the field. Michigan comes out, interesting, 1st and 10, throwing, quick pass, get rid of the football, trying to slow down Nebraska in that front.
Offset eye with the senior fullback, Brian Thompson. Mike Hart, the tailback. On play action, here is Henne looking at Hart. Out of the backfield, put on the brakes. Nice cut by Hart for the first down across the 30 into the 28-yard line. He had the strong safety Daniel Bullocks. That's the first time in about 2 months that Mike Hart has looked like Mike Hart.
Well, and this is an area, again, Mike, we've talked about so many areas of Mike Hart has been missed in the Michigan offense. Pass protection, of course, his running, his leadership, but also the way he is always in the right spot as a check down. Chad Henne looks over the defense. He always knows, almost like his blankie, where he can find his receiver. In this case, Mike Hart right in the spot that he needs to be.
From the 28, here comes the blankie. Up the middle for about a yard. Titus Adams on the bottom of the pile was holding on. Jay Moore, the junior, helped make the tackle up top. Moore, in the Wake Forest game this year, had 0 tackles. That was week 2 of the season. They had beaten Maine 25-7, Wake Forest 31-3, and he was so upset after watching the film of that game. He was inspired to be a different player. Had a good game against Pittsburgh, ended up with 3 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and became an honorable mention All Big 12 performer as chosen by the league's coaches. 2nd and 8, play action. Henne flushed, looking downfield, throws to Preston. Was he inbounds? They say no, incomplete. Juggling the ball.
A flag down.
Roughing the passer on Nebraska. As Henne was being flushed, it was Carricker who was giving charge. Not sure who was giving pursuit. Let me see.
Roughing the passer. Defense, 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
It wasn't Carricker. Well, look at the replay, tell you who it was.
He ran away from Carricker.
Titus Adams.
But Mike, I've been surprised to see Henne's acceleration out of the pocket tonight. Preston is juggling the ball. Michigan takes advantage of a break here. That's close. I mean, it's the ball because of the way in slow motion there for the way we were able to freeze it, it looked like a catch. But if you watch that in real speed, it really, Mike, it was going up and down as he was going out of bounds.
From the 13, end around with Bass, right into the waiting arms of Bullocks. Just a gain of a yard on the play. You know, I don't think Lloyd Carr is going to be inviting the Sun Belt officials for a vacation in Ann Arbor this summer.
The funny thing is, I think we felt coming into this game that might be an issue just because of the speed of these two teams and the caliber of these players compared to what you see in the Sun Belt. I really scratch my head and wonder how you get the Sun Belt Conference crew in the game like this.
A Sun Belt crew worked the Clemson-Colorado game. They got 2 officiating crews this year because they had 2 bowl teams last year. Mike Hart inside the 10, inside the 5. First and goal for the Wolverines. Down at the 2. You can see he's running with some attitude and purpose as well. Flag coming back. Holding on Nebraska. On Michigan.
Holding, offense number 67, 10 yards, replay second down.
On Matt Wentz, first and second team all-conference performers voted by the media and the coaches this year.
Wentz, a part of an offensive line that's been banged up this year. Mike, well, he locked in, and once he locked in, I think his hands just got caught up in the jersey. He's on his way to a pancake block, but the officials that time called it for the hold. Actually, a good call. Quick huddle here by Michigan, in and out of the huddle.
2nd and 18, 4 receivers left, deflected in the air, and it's an incomplete forward pass. Good job reacting by Carricker, the defensive MVP of this team, who might be looking to go to the NFL early after this game tonight.
Carricker's size, keep in mind he's lined up as a defensive end. He knows right away, you know what tipped it off was the way Henne was getting to the line and the way there's urgency coming from the Michigan huddle. He realized that it was an unusual formation for Michigan. He thought maybe something's going on out here quick, so he just decided to take off toward those 4 receivers.
He comes out, 3rd down. Henne adjusts the play. As you see, there's lots of time on the play clock. Pressure picked up, throwing for Manningham. He caught it. Touchdown, Michigan. The super freshman Mario Manningham from 21 yards.
Mike, Courtney Grigsby never turned his head to see the football. By the time he turned, the ball was in the hands of Manningham for a touchdown. As a corner, when you're beaten, you've got to be able to catch up, be able to get a feel for the receiver's hands and turn at the very last second and knock the ball away. It's hours and hours of practice in those one-on-one drills. And that time, Grigsby beaten by the freshman Manningham.
Revis with the extra point. They've had terrific receivers over the years, recently even. Ty Streets, Marquise Walker, Braylon Edwards, Jason Avant currently on this team. Manningham is the next in line. Michigan leads. Beautiful look at this great city, San Antonio, Texas. As we head through the final days, the home of the NBA champion, San Antonio Spurs. Chad Henne, 3 touchdown passes tonight. That ties an Alamo Bowl record held by Drew Brees of Purdue, Michael Bishop of Kansas State, and Dave Barr from Cal. Barr did it in the very first Alamo Bowl back in 1993. Ross Ryan's kickoff is unreturnable. Kurt, oftentimes we say changes the play or adjusts the play at the line of scrimmage. Here's an example of adjusting a play.
Well, if the Wolverine fans want to see where Chad Henne's improved the most this year, it's right here. Understanding defenses might seem like a simple thing. Here, he is sliding his offensive line in protection to the left. He recognizes a blitz. Great job of recognizing that by Henne. Look at the offensive line, give him time to throw, and then it's a matter of executing between Henne and Manningham. But it all started with Henne recognizing a blitz package and sliding his offensive line to the left-hand side. Great protection up front.
And in those situations, you're not necessarily changing the play that's called.
No, you're simply sliding the offensive line to the left or to the right. Maximum protection to protect yourself, to give yourself time to throw the ball.
Ross runs it hard out to the 24, a gain of 4.
And people look at Henne and compare his numbers to last year. I've heard that over and over this year. Well, he's not the same guy that he was as a true freshman. What happened to him this year? What happened to him this year is his offensive line was banged up all year. His secret weapon in the backfield, Michael Hart, was banged up for the most part. They lacked continuity because of those injuries. And if anything, he found himself forcing the football in at times, maybe trying to do too much. And he became a quarterback that was uncomfortable and not in sync, not in rhythm. But when he is in rhythm and he has a running game, Chad Henne has grown up in a big way this year as a quarterback.
Taylor hit as he throws, complete to France Hardy as the first down out to the 33-yard line. So Nebraska will try to back up their 11-play drive for a touchdown with another one here. Emerald Bowl out in San Francisco. Georgia Tech, Utah tomorrow afternoon. Then the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl, number 6 Oregon, taking on Oklahoma. Capital One Bowl Week continuing tomorrow night on ESPN. And if you want more, you can log on to ESPN.com. I totally forgot the Emerald Bowl's in San Francisco. I'm going there tomorrow.
There you go.
I might just sneak by the bowl game on the way.
Go over there, preparing for the NFL game. Go over there and take in a little college football.
1st and 10. Here comes Ross, taken out to the 37-yard line. Prescott Burgess out of Harding High School in Warren, Ohio, coming up to make the play.
Something to watch in the second half, and Aaron Andrews will be able to, I'm sure, help us out with this, is, believe it or not, the heat and humidity in this dome. I think that the depth, especially in the trenches for the two teams in the defensive line, I've seen Michigan rotating a lot of bodies, trying to stay fresh, trying to keep hydrated, and it'll be a big factor, I think, to conditioning of these two teams with such a long layoff here in the second half.
Taylor in trouble, made a great decision to eat it. Dave Harris busting up the middle, breaking up that play along with Tim Jamison. They met at the quarterback for a huge loss of 9 yards.
There's pressure, and Jim Herman, give him credit. We've been talking a lot about Kevin Cosgrove, but it's mixing up the looks. This is an area that I think Michigan has been able to have a lot of success this year. It's when they pin their ears back. They have such tremendous athletic ability in that front, Mike, and the rotation of those bodies, keeping them fresh, has a lot to do with that. Obviously, their third sack of the night.
They marked it at forward progress, so instead of a loss of 8, it's a loss of 5. 3rd and 15, 4 receivers. Taylor is flush again, running to try to get it. Taken out of bounds by Sean Crable, shy of the first down. So we'll have 4th down coming up as we come to 11 o'clock back in Michigan, 10 o'clock in Nebraska. 21-17, Wolverines jumped out to a 14-7 lead after Nebraska scored the first touchdown of the game. Huskers tied it before half, opened the third quarter with a field goal to take the lead. Michigan responded to Mario Manningham, 21-yard touchdown reception. Chad Henne's 3rd touchdown pass of the night. That's how we've arrived at the score. And Steve Breaston goes back for the Sam Cook punt. Huge leg on Cook. That's a big one. Breaston from the 22, looking for room, twisting around, stays on his feet, and gets across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Hasn't had as good a return night as the Rose Bowl last year, but it's pretty hard to match that unbelievable show he put on. But he's still been pretty good when he's had the ball in his hands tonight. Giving Michigan good field position again at their own 41 when you come back. Terrific run of games available in high definition throughout Capital One Bowl Week, and the BCS games on ABC also in high definition as we move forward through this next week. And ESPN's Monday Night Football next year will certainly be there as well. What a great watch that final Monday night game on ABC was the other night. Alan John and the guys, a wonderful job. From the 41, Henne, complete to Bass, out of bounds at about the 48. Aaron, how warm is it getting down there?
You know, I'm all right, guys, if you're just asking
you look
me.
good.
I mean, hey, thanks, Herbie. But let me tell you, I just actually talked to Nebraska's athletic staff, and Bill Callahan, Herbie, must, be a genius because he exactly said what you mentioned. He was stressing to his team to get hydrated last night, and even in the dressing room today, they were taking some Gator Lights, which is actually some sodium and potassium to help hydrate them. They've got the cups full over here. They've been urging the players to drink. I mean, it's been warm here in San Antonio, and it's December. What, it was in the 70s?
Yeah, record heat, Aaron, to the point that fires have been a big problem down here in Oklahoma and Texas this week. Manningham on the go route. Brixby with the coverage, incomplete. We'll have 3rd down, 2 coming up. The temperature hit 80 today. Oklahoma and Texas and other areas here in the Southwest have had problems to deal with fires, even hitting some residential neighborhoods over the last few days.
Mike, Michigan staying on the aggressive side as far as the play calling goes. First 2 plays of good field position. They have Chad Henne throwing the football, as we've seen a lot tonight. Trying to go after the Nebraska secondary.
Will Paul, the fullback, is over here to block for Bass, who comes across, depending on the spot. It looks to be shy of the first down. See the spot. Had to get right to the yard line. I think it's going to be 4th down. We'll have a measurement first.
You and I were really impressed with Chad Henne in the Ohio State-Michigan game. Some crucial moments in that game. Him going over to Lloyd Carr. It was a 4th down at one point in their own territory.
Yes.
Chad Henne convincing Lloyd Carr, let's go for it, coach. We can get it. Let's go for it. I think that has a lot to do with the maturation of Chad Henne and what these Michigan coaches are looking for him to become, that vocal leader.
Let's go back to the very first game of last year, 2004. Let's see what they're going to do here on 4th and very short with a 4-point lead and 3.5 to go. Interesting decision time.
They're going to go for it.
It's that way. Go back to the very first game. Matt Gutierrez was going to be the starting quarterback, injured shoulder. Chad Henne comes in as a true freshman and starts. He started every game since. from between Harrisburg and Philly. His personality is not to be a vocal rah-rah guy until he's earned the respect of his huddle. And he's doing that and stepping into that role a little bit more. He's big at 6'2", 226. See if he tries to sneak it for that couple of inches. He does, and we'll have a first down across the 49 and over at the 48-yard line.
Seeing more and more of that. You know, a lot of big games where you see coaches this year in college football going for it in big games and in their own territory. Remember the Notre Dame USC game, that happened a couple of times. Charlie Weiss and Pete Carroll saying, oh yeah, if you're going to do it, I'm going to do it too.
Using the size of these quarterbacks at 6'2", and Chad is impressive in just his demeanor and his calmness about him. And you better have a good demeanor about you to play this position at this school. From the 48, first down. And he throws pass again, very active in the second half. Gain of 3 out to the 45. And Kirk, we talk about it all the time. It's just been a direct pipeline from Ann Arbor to the NFL for quarterbacks. Elvis Gerback, Todd Collins, Scott Dreisbach, Brian Griese. There you see the list there. Tom Brady.
Some guy named Tom Brady.
Oh, by the way, 3 out of 4 titles, Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year, Drew Henson and John Navarre. Great story about how this quarterback run got started with Elvis Gerback, because it was almost Rick Meyer there. From the 45, Hart found an opening, room to run for Mike Hart into the secondary. Gain of 19, Reuben Riley and Jake Long with big blocks to spring the sophomore running back from Syracuse.
Mike, good blocks up front. Finally a chance for Michael Hart to not have to create. Look at Matt Lentz, 67 on McEwen. What a block right there to set it up and to get Hart into the open field. It's been so long. Michael Hart tonight, for the most part, has had to improvise and try to make room for himself. That was the first time this evening we have seen Mike Hart get to that second level of the defense where he is so dangerous.
11 carries, 45 yards. As we saw earlier in this quarter, no true running backs in the game in this formation for Michigan. Penny throwing incomplete for Bass. It was well covered by Ickes, and a penalty marker comes down after the play. The pass didn't look like it was going to be catchable because it was over Bass's head. Certainly the linebacker pulled on the back of Bass as the ball was going over his head. Let's see if they're going to call this or not.
Michigan coaches did a nice job of helping the Sun Belt officials make the call there.
Bill Callahan's trying to tell these guys it was tipped. Kevin Cosgrove, the rest of his staff, once a ball is deflected, nullifies it, and they're going to wave it off.
There is no flag on the play. The ball was touched behind the line of scrimmage, and therefore was a pass behind the line of scrimmage. No defensive pass interference. It's second down.
The Michigan staff, Terry Malone, the offensive coordinator, and Lloyd Carr wanted a face mask call on it. The official over there is saying he was pulled by the front of his jersey.
Imagine going from, and I don't do disrespect to Arkansas State and North Texas, but you're used to dealing with Arkansas State and North Texas, and all of a sudden you're standing on the sidelines like, Lloyd Carr, you're right in my face. Woo!
Our friends down the Sun Belt, happy holidays. 2nd and 10 from the 26. Here is Hart trying to get to the edge. Pulled down and snowed under by the black shirt defense. McEwen and Ickes do all the cleanup on that.
Mike, we have talked so much this year about great linebacker play throughout the country, but I'll tell you what, Corey McEwen, people better take notice. He's only a sophomore. This number 13 has been all over this field. It has a lot to do with why Michigan has not been able to run the football. The defensive line occupying blockers, and it's freed up this great crew of linebackers to run to make plays. Keep an eye on 13 in the middle for that Nebraska defense.
3rd and 11. He backs out in coverage here as Henne throws deep for Manningham again. Is it intercepted or out of bounds? Out of bounds, incomplete. Terrific coverage on Manningham. That time by Zachary Bowman. Fourth down, field goal attempt from here is 45 yards.
There's the difference between a corner, this time being in position. That's an interception.
It's a pick.
Now is Bill Callahan going to have to call a timeout to get the boys to review this one? That's an interception. My point here is that Bowman this time is in perfect position, Mike. Whether it's an interception or not, did you notice his eyes? His eyes this time were turned. Perfect position. Nice job there by Zachary Bowman.
So this is being reviewed and will be overturned as an interception. Great catch by Bowman. The junior college transfer that, Coach Holtz again brought it up, the junior college players coming in. It was the infusion of talent needed to survive at this point. Bill Callahan did tell us yesterday he has to go there to get these players, as you had mentioned in the first half. He will probably wean off that a little bit, only take a couple of junior college players. He knows you can't build a program. But in this world where you get 2 years or 3 years or else, you've got to find a way to put a quick Band-Aid on, especially when you've changed the system as they have here at Nebraska.
And they'll pull back from that eventually, but right now they need talent. Can we show that one more time? Because there are so many college coaches and college players watching this. This could be a great clinic film for other defensive coordinators and other defensive back coaches, because this is not only a great play by getting a foot down.
The defensive player's right foot came down the inbound here to control the ball. Is an interception, a touchback, first down.
Mike, not only about the turning, making the interception, but the great technique to be able to be step for step with the receiver and having the confidence to turn at the right time and completely be locked into that football and come down with that interception. Great technique by Zachary Bowman.
And Bowman, who had one interception this year, has been tested a lot. He's had a terrific season. A bang-bang play, and replay overturns it. It is an interception. Husker ball at their own 20 when we come back.
A different kind of New Year's Eve countdown, 11 p.m. on ESPN2.
Taylor's pass nearly intercepted, intended for Swift. Grant Mason and Willis Barringer over there on the coverage. We'll have 2nd and 10 coming up with a minute left. Zach Taylor almost saw his 3rd interception of the night, as Michigan's wising to, as Kirk told you, one of his favorite throws. Good, intense game here. You think people don't care about the bowls?
That's what I've been saying.
It's been fired up.
Oh, man. These games are great to watch and great for these players to compete in.
From the 20, Taylor blitzed, pressured, sacked by Sean Crable.
I got to go back to the importance of run. Why are they going away from running Corey Ross? They're becoming predictable, and when you become predictable with an offensive line that's a sieve, you can't do this, because what's happening is Michigan is out-manning Nebraska up front with speed, with a great scheme. And you look at what they've done to poor Zach Taylor. He's back there a little bit gun-shy, because by the time he receives the shotgun snap, Sean Crable's in his face, Alan Branch is in his face, Pat Massey, the entire front, the pressure that they're putting on him.
Yeah, 3rd down here, they run Ross, who is met in the secondary by a terrific-looking sophomore, Jamar Adams. And the 4th quarter is going to begin with a Nebraska punt.
I'm surprised Zach Taylor is still able to walk off the field at the beating that he has taken, not only the sacks, but the pressures and the knockdowns. But the offensive tackles are the most glaring weakness tonight for Nebraska. They're very young, and they're being exploited against this Michigan front.
Nobody's recognized yet, but we have come to the end of the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, here we go.
Terrific intensity to this little guy. Having fun here in San Antonio. 21-17, Michigan. Hey, if you're going to come to Texas, if you didn't bring a 10-gallon hat, Stetson hat, there are some available. Is that a Wolverine? What is that?
I don't know what that is.
Do you know the Wolverine and the Badger are in the same animal family?
Yes.
You didn't know that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, is that like Big Ten 101?
Yeah, you got to know that.
If you've been a captain of a school in the league. Off we go to the fourth quarter with Aaron Andrews and Kirk Herbstreit. Mike Tirico, glad you're with us. The Fiesta on the River this final week in December, the 2005 MasterCard Alamo Bowl. Michigan leads 21-17. Steve Breston awaits a very nice high kick and a terrific hit that they say was illegal. Wow. I don't know if that was Andrew Shanley. It was Shanley. I thought that was perfectly timed by Shanley, but let's wait and see on that terrific kick.
Collar rules out, right?
Yeah, the halo, the 2-yard
yeah,
halo.
It's been out for a couple years.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're discussing it. It was so close. Bang, bang. Again, the speed of the play looked like it was perfectly timed. And there was no interference with the opportunity to catch the ball because he caught it.
Yeah.
The kick
just looked like good coverage to me from up here.
Kick catch interference. Contact against the kicking team. 15 yards. First down.
Bill Callahan's making a very good point.
He's exactly right.
How can you interfere with catching the kick when you catch the kick?
That's the old halo rule. It's no longer in effect.
It's a hair call, but Breston has to bail out to catch it.
It's only going to cost him 15 yards, so it's not that big a deal for Nebraska. Oh my gosh.
The name of the penalty is kick catch interference, and Michigan will take over at the 47-yard line.
Tough night. Tough night.
And we'll step out here before Michigan gets going from the 47. Bill Callahan can have a longer, in-depth conversation and get a closer look at kick catch interference. Bill Callahan still asking Jim Jackson for an explanation of the rule. Kirk, I know it's been a month since I've been reading to you late at night, but here we go, buddy. It is interference. Here's some real book. Merry Christmas. Interference foul if the kicking team contacts the potential receiver before or simultaneous to his first touching the ball. So if it's simultaneous,
right,
it's a flag and it's 15 yards.
Okay, what if it's he catches it, then you get hit? See, I think it was after.
He catches it?
Yeah, he catches the ball, and then he's hit. I don't think it was during the catch.
It was very close to simultaneous, and that would be, just by rule, so everybody knows, the explanation. 1st and 10, Michigan.
Very good.
From the 47, Mike Hart into the line for about 3 yards to midfield. Well, this great week of bowl games will continue. Capital One Bowl Week on ESPN Friday. See Steve Spurrier's team in the Independence Bowl, the Gamecocks against Missouri, and the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Ryan Moore, the outstanding receiver for Miami of Florida, is also out, in addition to the Jamarcus Russell injury for LSU. Doesn't take away from a great game.
Matt Flynn gets a start there against a very, very good Miami defense.
From midfield, here is Hart, who is twisted by that right ankle after a gain of 3 yards. You know, Brad Nessler and Bob Greasy will be doing that Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, and it got me thinking Brian Greasy. We talked about all the Michigan quarterbacks. I mentioned Rick Meyer earlier. Bo Schembechler was the Michigan coach, and recruiting Rick Meyer in Indiana during a game in 1988 happened to be in Meyer's house during Monday Night Football. And Dan Deerdorf, one of the great Wolverines, was announcing on Monday Night Football. And Jim Harbaugh, Michigan quarterback, was starting the game. Henny takes a timeout here, so Michigan will use its second timeout. They'll have one left. So Harbaugh's making the start on Monday night. Deerdorf's doing the game on TV.
Pretty
That's
good.
Great
pretty
for
good
Bo.
opportunity.
That's a home run. You put the game on in the Meyer house. So here you go. We're watching. He ends up saying, well, here's Jim Harbaugh. Do you know, and I guess he was working with Al at that. I think Al and Frank Gifford. You know, guys, no Michigan quarterback has ever thrown a touchdown in the NFL. And this is while Bo's sitting there with Rick Meyer. It's like not the best timing in the history of the world.
Well, it worked out great.
Rick Meyer goes to Notre Dame. Elvis Grbac goes to Michigan and starts that long run of quarterbacks that we showed you earlier. And it's one of the reasons that Chad Henne wears a different microscope. Because you've had all these guys go right to the NFL, now Chad Henne has to walk into that position and maintain not just the tradition of the most wins in the history of the sport, 849, but those 7 guys who've come before you as well.
I asked Chad, growing up in Pennsylvania, looking at Penn State, looking at some other schools, why Michigan? And he said the obvious answer was not only the academics and a great school, feeling comfortable there, but let's face it, the way they turn out quarterbacks, they send them up to the next level. They prepare quarterbacks for the NFL. That had a lot to do with why Chad Henne ended up going to Michigan.
3rd and 4, pressure is picked up. Henne throwing for Avant. Did he bring it in? Oh, what a catch by Avant at the 21. Gain of 26 for the senior.
Mike, in this offense, Mike Hart, and especially his receivers the last couple of years, it was Braylon Edwards, Steve Preston, and I felt a lot of times the guy that gets overlooked is Jason Avant. He is a great leader for this team. He's the team's MVP, and he fought through pass interference, no call, and makes a catch to keep this drive alive for the Wolverines. Great play by Jason Avant.
76th catch of the year, screen to Hart is nearly an interception for Jay Moore, the end. Moore had a pick against Iowa State in Nebraska's double overtime win over the Cyclones back in Lincoln on October 1st. And he almost had a go-ahead pick 6 there.
It's one of those plays as a quarterback, you're throwing that blind and you don't even see the defender not only in front of you, but there was a corner that was closing in on Hart that if Hart would have made the catch, he would have been hit heavy and maybe fumbled the football.
Play adjustment, 5 on the clock. Kevin Grady, the freshman, is in at running back. He goes straight up the middle. Almost looks like he was getting ready to cut it to the right side with a window open for him. But he's more of a straight ahead runner. Gets to the 19. You'll have 3rd and about 8 coming up.
Well, again, you just have to be impressed with this front of Nebraska. I mean, you can look at Michigan and say, well, this is a team that struggled to run the football the entire year, but I got to continue to go back to the point that you have Jake Long in that lineup, healthiest that he has been all year. Matt Lentz, Krause, Riley, Stenovich, Mike Hart for the most part in the lineup. And Nebraska holding up very nicely against that front.
Titus Brothers comes in. 5 DBs for the Huskers. Henne stepping up, taking off, gets another key first down at the 7-yard line.
3rd time this ball game on 3rd down that Nebraska has covered the receivers downfield. The pressure's coming in on Henne, and he decides to be able to use his feet to pick up a first down. This is another area that I think he's improved the most. Sliding the protection to help himself out in pass protection. Watch 77, the right tackle, help out and basically just roll off the defensive lineman Cryer to give him a nice vacancy there to go through.
First and goal, Hart straight ahead, twisted and turned, maybe a half yard. Not much more. Blake Tietke out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, comes in to make the play.
Mike, the way this game is gone, this is huge for Nebraska. They have got to force a field goal at this point in the game.
One of the few healthy linemen all year for Michigan, Reuben Riley, the guard, has limped off the field. Riley is out. Adam Krause has come in. Krause, usually a center, slides over to guard. Beal remains at center. New left guard for Michigan. 2nd and goal. Play action, Henne. Looking, running again. Can he get there? Touchdown! Michigan! What a game for Chad Henne. He's thrown 3 and now runs for 1.
There's another dimension in Michigan's offense that teams are going to have to prepare for next year. Not that you're going to make a living with Chad Henne running the football, but just the recognition from Chad and being able to come off of his receivers and have the confidence to use his speed to get to that next level of the defense, and this time into the end zone.
Rivas gets the extra point. Henny has runs of 14, 14, 12, and 7. He has 4 total touchdowns, tying Nebraska great Eric Crouch for the most touchdowns rushing and passing in an Alamo Bowl. Michigan plus 11. Number 7 has put up 7 each quarter for Michigan. They lead 28-17. Okay, cleats, $110. The MasterCard Alamo. Your jersey, $100 for an authentic jersey at this game. Helmet, $189. This is a surprise to us, folks. We don't know. Playing in a bowl game, priceless.
Oh, that's
MasterCard
great.
Alamo way. You get it?
Yeah, that was good stuff.
There you go.
Very good stuff.
The Nebraska fans made the 900-mile journey from Memorial Stadium in Lincoln here. Now they try to root their team back. The return by Marlon Lucky takes it out to the 23-yard line. That Memorial Stadium in Lincoln is expanding. Steve Peterson, the athletic director, who does a terrific job building new facilities at his stops in Pittsburgh. He was at Ohio State as an associate athletic director along the way. Now he's in Lincoln, hired Bill Callahan after letting go of Frank Solich. A $50 million expansion to the stadium. There are 6,500 more seats going in. Be ready for September next year when Zach Taylor and the Cornhuskers take the field. 1st and 10 for Taylor for the 23.
Keep an eye on Nebraska offensive tackles struggling and now obvious passing situations.
Michigan showed the pressure, backed out. Complete pass is a big hit by Leon Hall on none. SportsCenter 30-30 time, and here's Reese Davis.
All right, Mike, Brett Favre was non-committal but reflective when talking about his future in the NFL. He even said that perhaps he doesn't fit into the Packers' plans, but no one has the heart to tell. And much more on this story coming up on SportsCenter after the game. And the King, Sharif Abdur-Rahim, will have his mouth wired shut for 6 weeks after having surgery to repair a broken jaw. SportsCenter after the game, ESPN News right now.
Thank you, Reese. 2nd down and 9. Taylor pumps to the left, comes back to the right. He is hit. And again, this Michigan front doing a terrific job. Rondell Biggs that time comes in to get the smack. Kirk, there's only 4 sacks for Michigan, but there are about 15 hits.
Mike, it's all with the tackles for Nebraska. And again, this time, fresh body. Rondell Biggs gets a chance to get in there, going up against these tackles. They're just pinning their ears back and getting every single time to Zach Taylor. Every time he drops back to throw.
Gabe Watson comes off the field. Michigan brings fresh linemen out. Taylor has nobody open. Doesn't matter who's in on defense. Taylor's just getting pounded here. Biggs finished it. Woodley started the pressure. 4th down.
If you're a Nebraska fan, it's very easy at this point to be frustrated. But what I'm seeing is looking into the future of this program is this is the area. Everybody wants to know, why can't you win right away with Bill Callahan? This is a classic example of what's missing right now and why he's recruiting as hard as he is. He already has 20 verbals. They need offensive linemen. They need playmakers at receiver to make this offense go.
Weston back for the punch. Shanley, same exact play. No flag this time. And it's stopped at the 31-yard line. Good play, 2nd time in a row by Shanley. You know, this defensive line for Michigan's playing great, and one of them is playing with great emotion. Watch this hit again. Virtual repeat.
Is that the same? That was the same play?
Different play,
okay.
Actually. Different play, actually. All right. After this Michigan first play, there's one guy in that Michigan defense, their first team all-conference performer, Gabe Watson, who along with Mike Hart and Steve Breston on offense, were in the middle of one of the most heartwarming stories of the season. Remember Charlie Weiss and Notre Dame and the play he called back at their own 1-yard line on the road this year? Well, Hart, who takes the pitch from Henny here, and is stopped for a loss of 2 yards. The ball comes out, but goes out of bounds, so it stays with Michigan. There's a young man who passed away in October, Matt Kaiser. Matt was from Sturgis, Michigan, not too far away from where the Wolverines play. He diagnosed with encephalitis. Make-A-Wish, part of what the wonderful work they do. One of his wishes to be close to Michigan football, and the players came out to see him as he was obviously in an incapacitated state, yet brought there. That is his dad, Matt's father, pictured with Gabe Watson. Gabe Watson was so moved by the emotion, he gave his Outback Bowl ring off his finger to Matt's father just to do something of some goodwill and show of emotion back from Gabe, a very thoughtful young man. Henny on second down runs, only gains a couple of yards here. A third down coming up. Gabe gave the ring to the dad. Unfortunately, Matt passed away 3 weeks later, and today would have been Matt's 9th birthday. So Gabe Watson and Dana Jacobson did a terrific story on Cold Pizza this morning about Watson and Hart and Breaston, the other players, and the Kaiser family who have been so thankful for having their son in his last days be touched with that emotion. And actually, as that was happening, it was playing on the big board here. A lot of the Michigan fans saw it and responded to Gabe Watson. Just one of those touching stories of the season. 3rd and 13, Henny throws incomplete for Manningham, and we'll have 4th down coming up for Michigan.
Mike, and if I understand the story right, this happened clear back in early part of October, right?
Yes, it did. October.
Now, what I love about that is Gabe Watson in Michigan, they weren't looking for a lot of fanfare. They weren't looking for, boy, look at us, look what great guys we are. This is just something from the heart. And for Gabe Watson to be just overwhelmed by that family.
And you see he has 9 and Matt written on his left wrist there, taped with thoughts of Matt before this game here tonight.
Just, it's great to hear those kinds of stories because you always hear about the other side of the spectrum. It's great to hear Gabe Watson and that entire Michigan team getting involved in that.
Courtney Grigsby tries to set up a return that Nebraska desperately needs. Grigsby gives him great field position. The Cornhuskers are still in this one. I think that guy Shanley, who made 2 terrific tackles on special teams, came up with a big block to spring, a 28-yard return. Nebraska takes over in Michigan territory with the 9 for what would have been his 9th birthday, and Matt on his wrist. Gabe Watson leads the Michigan defense back on the field right after this. Crowd in the history of this game on hand. 13th playing of the MasterCard Alamo Bowl. Michigan leads by 11. The punt return by Courtney Grigsby gives Nebraska a great opportunity in a must-score situation. Corey Ross out to the 31-yard line. That's what they need to do.
That's what they have to do, Mike. The scoring drives that they have had, they've been able to run the football effectively. This is the best field position they've had the entire game. Now that we're under 9 minutes, they're down 11 points. They've got to be able to come up with some points, which means slow down the Michigan defensive front from pinning their ear, prevent them from pinning their ears back. And the only way to do that is to get Corey Ross on track, mixing him in, running the football.
Run, even sneak a screen in there. Here is Ross.
Look at this.
Left side, got a block, got another one. He's going to go all the way. Touchdown, Nebraska. Got to go for 2. It's 28-23. Got to go for 2 to make it a 3-point game.
Mike, it's very easy to sit at home or very easy to sit up here and say that they should do this or do that, but my gosh, when you have a great runner like Corey Ross and you have an offensive line that is struggling as much as this Nebraska offensive line is struggling in protecting your quarterback, you absolutely have to do something to slow him down. And the best thing to do is to mix in the run game. That time, Corey Ross found a seam and took it to the house.
Momentary stoppage in the game. Fan ran on the field. Police quick to him and take him out.
Mike, Corey Ross has 157 yards rushing tonight. Great blocks and a great block downfield by Terrence Nunn on the perimeter. That once Ross got out there was nobody left. Well executed, and this Nebraska offensive line, you can tell when it comes to doing something to help them, they get pretty confident with their run blocking.
Ross had 37 carries for 138 yards against Michigan State in this game 2 years ago. They go for 2 to make it 3. Taylor will throw for it. And hit it in the back of the end zone with Todd Peterson. First two-point conversion of the year. And Husker Nation rises as one.
It's about throwing to a spot for Taylor. He's going to put this football right where he has to put it. It was funny there. You had one receiver thinking, hey, Swift thought this ball's thrown to me. But that is a big play for Nebraska to be able to come up and cut this deficit now to 3 points. Another example of Nebraska with their back against the wall, coming back and not caving in. Great character on this Husker team.
Good atmosphere.
Great scene.
Yeah, sorry folks can't be here with us. Let's just soak up a little bit. You see the Sports Center bottom line in. Sports Center will follow us after the game. 898 miles, as I said, from Memorial Stadium in Lincoln. They've got most of the folks here 1,480 miles away from the Big House, where Chad Henne and Michigan had so many close games all year that on both sides of the ball, if they said it once to us in preparation for this game, they said it 30 times. Finish, learn how to finish.
Right.
And now Michigan is at the point where they have the opportunity to try to finish the game, as Nebraska did against Kansas State and Iowa State and Pittsburgh in their close wins this year. They kicked away from Preston earlier in the quarter. See what Jake Wesh can do here. It'll be Preston from the 6. Has the left side with a cut. Tried to set up the block, but good pursuit, not giving up on the play by Nebraska's special teams. Tackled by Ben Eisenhart, the return 28 yards. Sports Center is on the way as soon as we are done. USC's plan to stop Vince Young. Brett Favre addressing the media. Could we be heading to his last NFL start for Green Bay? And what will happen with NFL coaches? Stuart Scott, Neil Everett standing by. Sports Center, just like this game, available in high definition as soon as we're done. Got a long way to go here in the Alamo town.
Mike, as excited as we are about seeing Nebraska run the football and see them have some confidence, it started with their defense. 28-17, it looked like desperation time, and their defense forced the punt to get their offense back on the field.
And he gets time as a window to throw. Jason Avant, ball out, recovered by Nebraska. Corey McEwen picked it up. Adam Ickes knocked it out of the hands of the senior Avant. And a huge turnover for the Huskers.
The mighty Mo, Mike. Momentum in college football goes hand in hand, and right now, the Big Red Nation is taking over San Antonio. Great play by Ickes when it looked like a big gain for the Wolverines on 1st and 10. He knocks it loose, and McEwen is right there to pick it up to give the Huskers the ball again in Michigan territory.
Second turnover of the game for Michigan. Nebraska's given it back a couple of times. And the Cornhuskers take over at the Michigan 48. Right back to Ross on the ground. That time, the fullback Dane Todd couldn't make the block, and the defense pushes it up with Pierre Woods. Aaron Andrews.
Brought down by number 99.
Down on the field, we'll have more on Corey Ross.
I'm ready. Hey, guys, by the way, talking to Corey Ross yesterday, obviously Nebraska not making a bowl last year. Corey Ross, one of the co-captains on this team, said that left a huge void. That was something he wasn't used to. He said he felt this year being back in a bowl, going up against Michigan, it's on the seniors' shoulders to end this right and help this Nebraska program set a tone for next year, Mike.
What a great opportunity they have, Aaron. Here is Taylor throwing. Double coverage. Is that a reception? No, they say incomplete pass. It stayed in there for a long time, but was never secured by Nate Swift. Prescott Burgess there surrounding him.
with the importance of a 1st and 10 play. They lose yardage. Now they have to throw in an obvious down. Now they really have to throw the ball on 3rd down and long. And again, I want you to keep an eye on the Nebraska tackles to see how they do against this Michigan front. See if they're going to give Taylor enough time to throw.
Gets time, this time, down the middle, deflected, broken up by Burgess. Good drive on defense with a 2-year letterman. Honorable mention all conference as voted by the coaches. His athleticism, getting the job done, and Jason Avant exhales.
The protection was there, Mike. This time it was just a great play by Prescott Burgess. I don't even think Taylor saw him. He was locked in on the safety who was on the other side of his receiver, and Burgess came away out of nowhere, spying to come over and make the play.
Taylor 2 of 9 passing in this half. Where's Andrew Shanley, number 8? Is he going to hit Steve Preston again right before he catches it? Sam Cook ready to kick it away. Trying to down it inside the 10. He is great at downing it inside the 10. Shanley cannot get there. Ball crossed the plane. And in college football, it's where the ball is. So we'll have a touchdown. Thought the ball broke the plane. We'll step out. 28-25. Michigan leads by 3. Be right back. Hustle and bustle of the holiday season. This game has had the intensity of your pre-Christmas shopping on what's supposed to be a week of relaxation. Well, headbanging here in the Alamo City. 28-25. Michigan leads. 6:49 left. And their ball at their own 20 after the touchback. Mike Hart has played most of the second half, and here he runs for about 45 yards out to the 25-yard line. Daniel Bullock's helping on the tackle. Well, one of the key plays in this game, in a 3-point lead, the 4-point save by Lloyd Carr, the Michigan coach. Let me take you back to the 3rd quarter. What was ruled on the field that Terrence Nunn touchdown, they didn't go to replay right away. Carr took a timeout, forcing them to review it, and upon further review, it was an incomplete pass. Nebraska, by the way, from the wrong hash mark, because the play was run from the left hash mark, from the right hash mark, kicked the field goal to go up 3 instead of 7. 4-point saved. Michigan leads by 3. Henne throws it over the head of Ecker as he was being pressured by Jay Moore. 3rd down and about 5 coming up.
If you're just tuning in, this is a great football game. Both teams have shown a lot of heart, a lot of character. And you think about what's on the line here for both teams. Nebraska's building with Bill Callahan in their 2nd year. This would be the biggest win in their 2 years, building for the future. And for Michigan, it's 7-4. You imagine Michigan finishing 7-5? That would not go over well in Ann Arbor. There is a lot on the line for both these teams.
Haven't lost that many games in the season since 6-6 in '84. Pressure on Henne. He's hit as he throws. Incomplete or a fumble. They're ruling in a fumble on the field, and Nebraska has it at the 17. I'm not sure if he was coming forward or not. It looked like his arm has reached up. It was called on the field a fumble and a recovery by Nebraska at the 17. We'll see if they review this.
Like maybe I'm seeing things. I really thought he was coming forward there, but
it's very close.
The ball looks like it comes out of his hand before it comes forward.
Henne has a very long windup. The empty hand comes through, and wow, shocking.
Here we come.
Boy, that is so close because he doesn't get the arm. Henne is coming forward with the ball.
Timeout. Michigan.
Oh, Michigan had to use a timeout again. They had to use their final timeout to suggest a replay. I got to tell you,
this is a shame.
Let me say this. I don't care what happens in the game. If you're going to have replay and not stop the game on key plays, take it out of the game.
That's why it's there.
Take it out of the game.
That's why it's there.
You're here to help the officials who have a very difficult job. You give them a tool, and then the guy sitting up in a booth next to us doesn't use it.
Oh, Mike, You're exactly right. The whole idea is the principle behind this is when you get to crucial plays that are it could affect the outcome. It's such a slight margin of error. Check it out. That's why we have it. That's why it's upstairs.
And I think that might be a fumble too. I think the call on the field might be right. I'm not sure.
But the fact you said it might be
right.
That's why we got to go look at it. Is Lloyd Carr 2 for 2 on calling timeouts?
Timeout. The play is being reviewed.
Oh my gosh.
Well, was it a Michigan timeout or a play being reviewed timeout? We'll have to sort that out as well. We heard them say timeout Michigan, and now they will review the play. I hate the fact that we care so much. We get so angry about this stuff.
Well,
gosh.
If we're gonna do it, let's do it right. And by the way, I'm glad I'm not on the phone there making that call.
Because see, the empty hand shows you that the ball has been taken out
right
before
here.
the forward pass, but it's so close.
Yeah, I think that.
I'd almost have to say that doesn't.
The old inconclusive. Yeah. It's a good shot here. Boy, oh boy.
The ball is still on his hand as his hand
lost control of the football.
Yes, he did. I would rule that in replay. If you made me rule off that,
you'd say
I'd rule a fumble.
Yeah,
I would.
Based on what we've seen, it almost has to be a fumble, but it's still so close. You had to take a look at it.
The quarterback's hand had not started forward when the ball was knocked loose. The play on the field stands. It's a fumble. First down.
And now, if Nebraska comes back and takes the lead, Michigan will be out of timeouts because they've had to use 2 to get the game stopped to review.
And by the way, what was missed in all the chaos is the black shirts.
Yes.
The Nebraska defense, again, making a play to set up the offense for the 3rd straight series starting in Michigan's territory.
And back-to-back turnovers forced by Nebraska. The Huskers can tie or take the lead on this drive. And we have a whistle. Just checking to see if I see a penalty marker.
Prior to the snap, false start offense, number 85, 5 yards, first down.
It's over there on the Michigan sideline. It's obscured.
Like, those are the things that probably keep Bill Callahan up at night. J.B. Phillips has been playing well all night. It's a sophomore tight end. Simple, just motion by the receiver. The tight end moves while the receiver's in motion. You've got a ton of momentum. Opportunity to take the lead in a game. You cannot afford a 5-yard penalty to set yourself back now at 1st and 15. Fundamentals and execution are the things this offense has to continue to improve on.
It dulls momentum so quickly, just that one little flag. You can get it back with a good block or a good run by Ross. Here he comes to the right. Dave Harris comes in and makes a tackle. Virtually no gain inside of 6 minutes here in regulation.
But if you're Nebraska, you're thinking, you know what, just the fact that they're going to it, it's making the front aware of Corey Ross. It's making the linebackers aware of Corey Ross, the safeties. It's just a different thing. Instead of being one-dimensional and allowing that defense to just dig in and come after Zach Taylor, now at least they're aware of it. I promise you, here comes the blitz now. They're going to bring the heat on Zach Taylor without any back in the backfield.
Bringing 4, Taylor throws. It is caught by Phillips in the open field. He's knocked down at the 13. He's done a nice job. First team academic, all Big Ten the last 2 years. Terrific student who stepped in. We haven't talked about Matt Harry, and I apologize. The senior tight end, terrific pass-catching tight end who's been out all year for injury.
Coming into this season, if he's healthy, he's probably one of the best tight ends. Not probably, he is one of the best tight ends in the country, which would have helped this offense so much.
In a great tight end year in college football. 6 for the first down. 13 for the go-ahead touchdown. Ross, the star of the night, comes in motion. The other star, Taylor, sets and throws. Touchdown! Terrence Nunn! Nebraska leads. Young's second touchdown reception on the night. Nebraska has scored 2 touchdowns in 3.5 minutes. Jordan Congdon's extra point makes it a 4-point Nebraska lead.
Mike, great execution here by Nebraska on 3rd and short. Harris, keep an eye on Harris in the middle of the field for the Michigan defense. He gets so caught up in the tight end right at the first down line that he gets lost and doesn't see none slip behind him. When you have 2 safeties on the hashes, you've got to be aware of a receiver slipping up the middle of the field vertically. That time the linebacker didn't see it because he was occupied with the other tight end, J.B. Phillips. Big play, that time by none, and a great throw by Zach Taylor. As if we didn't know before we got here to come into this game, you talk about a tough quarterback. Zach Taylor has been whipped tonight, been beaten up. He has continued to come back the way he has this entire year to make the throws and to provide the leadership for this Nebraska offense. I'm really impressed with this guy. He is a junior, and he'll be back to lead this offense next year for Nebraska.
Bob Church's 66 Orange Bowl against Alabama. Craig Sundberg in the 85 Sugar Bowl against LSU. Joined Zach Taylor. 3 touchdown passes, tying a Nebraska bowl record.
What won't show up there is how many hits he took tonight, Mike.
Yeah.
That's the most impressive thing, is for him to take those hits and to come right back with an answer.
Which that now turns to Chad Henne in a Michigan offense that has turned it over the last 2 possessions. Jordan Congdon will come on to kick it off this time instead of Jake Wesh, whose last kick didn't get past the 10-yard line.
Speaking of answer, Steve Breaston, if he gets his hands on the ball, always gives Michigan an opportunity of great field position. It always seems like when it's a crucial point, the number 15 in the maize and blue comes up with a big return. But what a game. Woo. This is a good one.
With that 2-point conversion, by the way, it's a 4-point game, so Michigan will need a touchdown. No timeouts, 4.5 minutes. And you would think because you don't have a referee getting his microphone repaired, you would think because of no timeouts, if you're Michigan, you have to approach this as your last opportunity to score tonight.
Michigan is very familiar with this situation. 6 of their 8 conference games in the Big Ten came down to the last 30 seconds or in overtime.
Squibbit to keep it away from Breaston. The fullback Thompson picks it up, and Brian Thompson takes it to the 35-yard line. The presence of Breaston forces the squib kick. Aaron Andrews has more on the Nebraska offensive start tonight.
You guys mentioned how many times Zach Taylor bounced back up after taking all those hits, staying composed throughout the night. That's exactly what Nebraska's offensive coordinator Jay Norvell told us. He challenged him right before the Colorado game, telling him, we need you to be the field general, the field sergeant. We need you to communicate with your teammates like you never have before. And Zach Taylor telling you and I, Mike, yesterday, he loved that challenge. That's why he came to Nebraska.
He did. He was ready for it right before that Colorado game. A great 30-3 win in Boulder. All right, here's the deal. 4:24, 65 yards. Michigan out of timeouts. And a first down throw for Avant. Got the foot down. Gain of 11, first down. Clock stops. You know, Avant was desperate to get his hands on the ball. Didn't want his last college touch to be that fumble that set up the first of those back-to-back Nebraska touchdowns.
Jason Avant, a clutch performer. Mike, with a game on the line, he's a guy that wants, as you said, his hands on the ball, an opportunity to make a play.
He has 4 catches, now 5. Makes a move, gets across midfield into the 49. Zach Bowman was over there, but Avant gets first down yardage. This will take us under 4 minutes. Michigan not huddling. Here's the quarterback story tonight. Each has thrown 3. Henne ran for 1, tying an Alamo Bowl record for touchdowns created. 2nd and 3. 3 in a row to Avant. Another first down. Kirk, you said it. Michigan had so many games, 6 of their 8 in the Big Ten, coming down to the very end of the game, the final half minute. Do you ever get comfortable in those situations when you get them so often?
I don't know if you get comfortable, but you get familiar as a quarterback, as a team. It's like anything else. Anytime you've been around a certain climate, a certain situation, you're better the more you do it. And because Michigan has been here with a quarterback who's been there, it helps them execute.
Hart on the edge. Mike Hart taken out of bounds at the 36-yard line. A gain of 8. We'll have 2nd and 2 with 3:48 to go.
You know, if you're Nebraska right now, what has helped him get back into this game and take the lead in this game has been an aggressive defense. The challenge, in my opinion, on Kevin Cosgrove, the defensive coordinator, is maintaining that aggression late in the game while Michigan is being aggressive coming at you. Sometimes you'll see defenses backpedal and become passive. You got to continue to be aggressive.
Hart on 2nd down. 1st down. Mike Hart takes a shot at the 20, but gets a big gain. Bullock's made the big hit. Daniel, his brother Josh, left early. His twin brother now plays for the New Orleans Saints. Displaced, so they're in San Antonio. He's here at the game tonight.
Like, these are 2 football teams that have worked hard. They're tired. They want to continue to fight and find out what they're made out of here. Mike Hart all of a sudden coming alive here. Bullocks was happy about the hit. It's a big gain downfield for Mike Hart. All of a sudden, this Michigan drive is boom, 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 and they're down to the 20-yard line.
Mike Hart, 19 carries, 74 yards, 1st and 10, 3:20 on that turning 4th quarter clock. Flag down as Henny throws to Avant, complete for 5. It's an alignment flag. I don't know if Michigan didn't have enough people on the line of scrimmage.
I don't think Jake Long was on the line. The right tackle might have been lined up in the backfield.
Maybe the receivers.
Could be.
Illegal formation, only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. Offense, 5 yards. Replay 1st down.
I don't think any of the receivers were legal.
Yeah, receivers.
All were a step back from the line of scrimmage.
Like we keep talking about what's at stake here. Here's
a reminder to tune into the Rose Bowl game January 4th on ABC. Find out the Pontiac Game-Changing Performance of the Year. You can vote at ESPN.com. $100,000 to the winning school towards its general scholarship fund. Avant spun down at the 19 by Grigsby. 3 minutes left.
We just keep talking about this, and I think we need to remind people about, in a bowl game like this, it's not about the BCS or the Rose Bowl. It's about trying to just continue to win and build for the future. And this is a team right now, Michigan, that does not want to face a 5-loss season.
2nd and 9. Here is Henny throwing for Ecker. Too high for his tight end and incomplete. He was getting ready to get hit. Couldn't step all the way in and throw it.
I love that matchup for Michigan. Whether it's Tyler Ecker at 6'6", Mike Massey at 6'4", when they go one-on-one against the safeties of Nebraska, it's a big advantage with size that Henny tries to take advantage of.
3rd down, you're in 4-down territory. Without timeouts, and a field goal does you nothing. So your play call has got to be in your mind. You're going for it on 4th down. Play clock at 6:05 as Henny from under center looks for Manningham. Couldn't get it. And it comes down to 4th down.
Ball was thrown right where it had to be. Manningham could not hold on to it. It was a 1st down.
This is not the game yet. Nebraska would have to pick up at least 1 first down. But because Michigan had to waste the 2 timeouts because of the incompetence of the replay official, this becomes essentially the ball game.
I think Jason Avant at the bottom of the screen is the go-to guy here.
4th and 8. Will Nebraska bring some heat? Henny looking, throwing toward Manningham, incomplete. Michigan wanted a flag on Bowman, who made a great defensive play, and the Nebraska defense, the story of the 2nd half, comes up with a big play. Again.
Mike, that play looked like the play to beat Penn State. The quick slants, both on the outside. Manningham, you remember, made the play to beat Penn State on the final play. Henne goes back to him again. Boy, looking at that in her replay, it's the left hand hooked. The right hand, we were caught up in the right hand coming around to deflect the ball, but meanwhile the left hand of Bowman comes around to lock down Manningham. Rough night tonight for the Crew.
Michigan out of timeout, so they must stop Nebraska. As you get the run there for no gain, 2nd and 10 coming up.
Got to take another look at that for fans of both teams who like to argue this the next day. Michigan fans will be looking back at this replay, saying it should have been pass interference. You're right. The left hand of Bowman locks down Manningham. When you look at it in a replay, it's very easy to see. When you're seeing it in fast motion, it's very tough to see.
2nd and 9. Ross up the middle, runs again. The next snap will probably come at about 1:07 or so. Nebraska probably take it down to about 25 seconds or so here by the time they have to punt, if they end up not getting a first down. Our Capital One player of the game, Zach Taylor, 14 of 31. Great performance from Corey Ross in his final game, but all the hits Taylor took, terrific job of leading his team through. He's our Capital One player of the game. 3rd and 7. If they pick up a first down, the game will be over. They run the toss with Ross, who looks and just comes up 3 yards shy. 1:07. They'll probably mark it to play with 57. Probably have to kick the ball around 32 seconds left.
Anybody seen Braylon Edwards around? We could borrow him for these final 30 seconds. Making those big catches.
I don't know what they're waiting for to blow the ball ready for play. The ball is sitting there. I don't know what he's waiting for. I got to tell you, this is one of the poorest officiated games I've ever seen. The ball was sitting on the 26-yard line for 10 seconds, and these guys are looking at each other. So now Nebraska will be able to punt it away at about 18 seconds, leaving Michigan a shot or two at the end zone, depending on the return.
At least it's been consistent. I mean, it's been from the start to the finish.
The ball was sitting on the 26-yard line. No first down markers had to be moved.
8 seconds, maybe 10? 10 seconds?
Well done in clock management. The play stopped with 1 minute and 1 second left. And you have to give a reasonable amount of time to spot the ball. But once the ball was down, usually you kind of blow it ready for play. They were leisurely in doing that. So with 18 seconds left, Michigan has to figure out, with a guy like Preston, you probably put the return on from a punt situation.
Mike, Michigan, regardless of all the calls.
Yes.
You go back to this game, you think about 28-17. And you think about what's at stake for Michigan and what they're trying to do. It's a bowl game. You're up 28-17. You've got all the momentum in the world. You're dominating Nebraska's offensive line. And you lose control of the game. I mean, you could talk about the bad calls. We can go into that forever. The bottom line is Michigan had opportunities here to pull away here in the second half and secure it. This has been a problem for them throughout this year. It's an ongoing theme.
I'll go back to what we said with 8 minutes left. Both sides of the ball said, we want the opportunity to finish, because it was what kept them from an even better season, and they clearly have not on both sides. And Nebraska has, and I give a lot of credit to Bill Callahan and this offense for realizing we've got to run the ball to succeed in this game. I think Bill did a brilliant job here in the second half with his play call.
Made the adjustments that they had to. Defense gave them the ball back, and then they capitalized.
18 seconds left. Michigan sets up a return. A great kick by Cook. Preston will have to make it happen from the 16. Up the middle of the field. Preston tripped at the 37. What a play on special teams by Dane Todd, that 4-0 student who starts at fullback. He saved Preston from kicking it into a fourth gear after the 62-yard punt.
The only way Michigan, realistically, you would think, has a chance, Mike, as you touched on, is for Preston to make the big play. Remember Rocket against Colorado in a national championship game, returned it, they called it back. It had to be one of those kind of moments.
7 seconds. Do you try to take 10 or 12 yards before your shot at the end zone?
Without any timeouts, I think you do. I think that's a good idea. You hit an out cut, try to get it to realistically give yourself a chance.
You see there's a safety back at the end zone. 64 yards. I think that's about the length of the Cordell Stewart pass against Michigan. Henne is sacked, got rid of it. No sack was called. It's incomplete with 2 seconds left. He got rid of it on the way down.
I know we only have 2 seconds here. Let's jump ahead and assume Nebraska holds on here.
Right.
We're not going to have time to talk about this. I just want to congratulate Bill Callahan.
Absolutely.
And for fans of Nebraska, look to the future and be excited, because this win, you cannot put into words how big this win is for Bill and for the staff and for the future of where they're trying to take this program. Congratulations to Nebraska.
64 yards in one play. 2 seconds left. Here's the end of the game as Henne throws. They'll try to set up the hook and ladder. It's in the hands of Preston, who will throw it back to Mike Hart, who looks for Avant, who's got it at midfield, who throws it all the way across the field to Manningham. Play still alive as Manningham sets up Avant to try to flip it back to, looking for a Music City miracle. They're back beyond the original line of scrimmage as it comes across. One of the offensive linemen catches it. It's still a fumble. The game is not over yet. The game is not over yet. Nebraska players are on the field. The play hasn't been whistled dead yet. Hang on a second here. This play is still alive as Ecker goes down the field for Michigan, and he's finally brought down at the 15-yard line. The game is over. Nebraska wins. There should be a flag on the field for Nebraska players coming on. There should be a flag on the field for Nebraska players coming on during the play. None is thrown. The officials leave. The game is over, and Nebraska has won the 2005 MasterCard Alamo Bowl. We had the Music City Miracle and Cal Stanford about to happen.
Mike, this play's been practiced a few hundred times.
They were 10 yards.
I thought it was going to be a safety. I mean, they were moving backwards. Once Manningham had it, I'm thinking the play is dead, but Manningham kept it alive. Little option pitch back to Avant. Now he's motioning back. Now you got a lineman in the mix here. And that's why the ball's still alive. That is still alive.
Because it was a background. And you see all the Nebraska players on the field there. And that's a penalty. Only fitting that in this night of incorrect or wrong calls, another one, exclamation points the game.
Mike,
line scrimmage at 34. Go ahead, bud.
Very, very fortunate for Nebraska that they had a couple defenders paying attention, because you had 2 defenders giving the effort and continuing to play it out because they saw a guy running, and the rest of these players started to celebrate with their teammates. This is the crucial play right here. Once you get to the lateral, that is a lateral from Avant. You have an effort there to go up and make a play by Beal. Now that ball is still loose. Mike, once Mike Hart got his hands on the ball, you're looking at the field, and I'm thinking, get it to Preston.
It's Tyler Ecker who's running. It's Zach Bowman is downfield here, Herbie.
Bowman
Michigan players on the field also, so it should have been offsetting penalties.
Yeah, Bowman is there to make the play.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, Bill Callahan, during all of this, gets doused with Gatorade. And now he's watching this saying, all right, I've got my Gatorade shower.
Thanks for the water, fellas. Hold on a second.
Hey, all right, as we watch this, Aaron's with Bill Callahan. Go ahead, Aaron.
And Coach is actually trying to watch the replay. Did you know that play wasn't over?
Not at all. What happened was I was on the sideline watching the development of the play, and I got splashed. And then I didn't realize that I walked out, and everybody was jumping up and down. And I came out here about to the I was on the hash, and I saw the play end here on the right side of the sideline. And we won, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Coach, restore the order. That's what you told your team for this year. What does it mean for your program to finish your season with a win over Michigan?
I'm really proud of our kids, and their resiliency and their ability to fight through adversity. In our last 3 games, they fought back and did a tremendous job. I'm just proud as heck. I couldn't be any prouder of a bunch of kids and these kids and the way that they fought. Our last kickoff cover team, we had 7 guys out on that particular team, and we just kept plugging guys in. They kept fighting.
And maybe the story of the game, your defense, especially after that last play. How do you evaluate how your D went after it today?
Well, I was really excited. I thought Coach Cosgrove did an excellent job with the defensive staff and players. They did a tremendous job in pass rushing and keeping Michigan at bay, the best that they could. And this is a talented football team we played tonight in. Our hat goes off to Michigan and Lloyd Carter. A tremendous football team, and they're a quality team in every respect. And it's just a real honor to play against them.
Never had a finish like that in the NFL, did you?
I can't remember.
All right. Michael, send it back up to you.
Thank you, Aaron. On November 7th, after the loss to Kansas, they asked Bill Callahan if he were the athletic director, would he fire the head coach? Ask that same question now, huh? Michigan 7-5, most losses since 1984, with Aaron Andrews, Kirk Herbstreit, our entire crew. Mike Tirico, good night from the MasterCard Alamo Bowl. Stuart Scott and Neil Everett of SportsCenter next. Nebraska 32, Michigan 28.